Hey, yo, what's going on, guys? Got a brand new episode of Marvel YAP for you guys today. We're going to be going over the OTA, and then we have a brand new two-cost tier list with a special guest. Let's go ahead and jump right into it. And as always, we are joined by the hostess with the mostest. You may have seen him on another popular podcast, maybe two of them this past week. The glorious, most beautiful mustache in America. Notmydance.
There you go. I was about to say, I was about to give Ika the credit for the mustache still. I'm fine with him having that. What's the difference? He's got, I think I've said it before, but I'll say it again. I think he's got much more of a, he's got like Batroc mustache. I have much more of a Mobius, I feel like, mustache compared, right? Because he's like, he does the work. Like yes. I'm willing to bet he's got the beard oil and such. I don't know, but
I'd have to say,
I would be honest. I don't think you could be Mobius. I don't want to talk about him.
Yeah, but it's a comparison. His is thicker, but like style-wise, yes.
Yeah, style-wise, yes. That's
okay.
No, he's definitely thicker, but it's also like I don't know. Owen Wilson's got more on me, but I'm gonna be honest. Ika's amazing, fantastic, but I don't really want to talk about him. I actually don't. I mean, I'd like to talk to him, but rather than talking to him. God, I don't mean to be flaming him right now, but I also really want to introduce Smlz, who I'm stoked to have on the pod today.
Hello. Hello, how's it going?
Oh, it's good. I'm glad to have you on here.
Glad to be here with the best mustache in America, and also Tucker over here on the left-hand side of the screen. It's great to be here.
Dude, he's a dad. That is a big thing. He gets to be a dad. So because you mentioned I was on a different pod. I was on the Snapchat. Smlz, you were actually over. Like apparently all of us are just doing a bunch of different podcasts. Because Smlz, also you were over on AQs with KM. And I will say though, over on the Snapchat, when I was talking with Alex during the thing, you came up because I think I mentioned the YAP or whatever, and he just drops like, I need Tucker on here, but he keeps having kids. And he's like, I wanted him on, but you had to have a kid. I think it was like the next day, and he's like, I get it. He's like, I can't do it. So he I don't know if it's confirmed, but like he mentioned potentially having you on next week, and that's what I'm like. I'm always stoked to talk about Marvel Snap, and I was stoked to be on there. Absolute pleasure from Alex. But also, if you could be on there too, bro. I don't know what Smlz happening, but like still, I'm stoked about that.
Yeah, I hope I do get going, because like my favorite card of the season releases next week, which is Muse. So I would love to talk to Alex about Muse and see what his thoughts are about it, and maybe speak some of the ideas that I have about the card. I don't think it's necessarily the best card of the season by any means. It's just personally like my favorite card of the season, more so than anything. But we have actually a really awesome YAP today. One of the main reasons we actually have Smlz on the YAP today is because Smlz makes some of the best tier lists that I've actually seen on YouTube itself, and he's been going through a bunch of different costs so far, and we were like, you know what, we kind of want to talk about the two-cost cards as well, because we've had, Shadowlands Daredevil, we have Punisher War Machine coming out. Let's pick Smlz's brain and kind of see where he's at currently, post a couple OTAs and everything as well, because we're also going to be talking about the OTA that we just had, which is probably gonna be a smaller section than what we have for the two-cost tier list. But
I was gonna say, where can you find? Do you know where you can find Smlz? Like, where can I find all these tier lists that he's got a bunch of other top ladder players talking about stuff with?
Yeah, you can find me over on YouTube at Snap Academy YT. I just concluded recently my ranking every single card in the game by virtue of a tier list from 1 to 6 plus cost. Had a great time. A lot of hours of content, more similar to a podcast rather than a traditional YouTube video. But yeah, we had a very fun time on them. Some of them, I actually think some of them aged quite well. So yeah, I'm excited to re-rank the two cost. I haven't ranked them in a while, and the last time I ranked them, Sunlord was still a 4-5. So that kind of shows you how long ago and how much different of a meta context it was.
So I was watching your tier list when you were uploading them, and I think one of my favorite parts about it was when you got to the fourth cost tier list, and the next video you did had also Sunlord, Star-Lord, Master of the Sun in it again, because he did just get that cost increase. And I thought that was, I don't know how many people they're ranking every single card, like all the costs and stuff, but the same card being in two different tier lists, I thought was really funny.
I mean, he said he had a really good placement in both. Nowadays, I don't think he'd be that high, but yeah, he was dominating the tier list scene for quite a while.
I also wanted to give a Smlz shout out as well because I'm trying to ask top players. I'm trying to get like coach from a bunch of people who are better at Marvel Snap than myself. And Smlz was coaching me for a little bit over this weekend. And I don't know why I was streaming it because I had a headache and just couldn't actually do much. But but he was coaching me. He was teaching me stuff. And actually, I didn't mention it to you. I think we were even in a call last night, but I didn't mention it then because I wanted to tell you here that I actually used that deck. I hit Infinite with the coaching, with that help from you, because I had played that deck before and I had not been able to make it work for myself. But played that deck literally just basically sick in bed, figuring stuff out, and got to Infinite with your help, and then immediately started playing worse decks again because I didn't care.
Well, congratulations on hitting Infinite. I'm happy I could help you out there. But yeah, I mean, that Surfer deck that you've seen everywhere, the Captain Carter, Maverick, Prodigy, Hope Summers, Ascani one, that's mine. It's fun. It's one of the most fun decks that I've built like ever. It's one of my personal favorites. It's kind of the culmination of me and another player in like the high infinite space, Heart of the Cards, you might also know him from YouTube, have been working on Maverick, Prodigy, Captain Carter, Surfer builds for the past while. So finally seeing Ascani being a card that helps with the curve and helps with the power output really take it off into like the mainstream meta was extremely nice to see, and a great payoff for something that I've been building for months and months.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think something like if you guys do not know, like Smlz also does some like very in-depth like deck guides, because a lot of the decks you guys do see that are meta don't honestly start off as meta. He makes a lot of off-meta decks that then become meta decks because of how good they are. Like playing a lot of off-meta cards, like we saw Awesome Andy on screen. Smlz has made a couple different iterations of Awesome Andy decks that have really popped off. This Mother Ascani deck, like we're talking about, like there's a lot of really good decks that you guys probably maybe have not actually had accredited to Smlz. Of course, KM does a great job accrediting the decks to Smlz that he plays as well. But definitely check out his content like we were talking about on Snap Academy. He does incredible stuff there. If you guys really do want some in-depth, like higher infinite player takes, definitely the place to go. Now, the takes that we're about to have here about the OTA, I'm very interested to kind of, see how we all feel about the OTA that we did just have, because it was kind of just OTA. I mean, it's all buffs, which all buffs is normally pretty good, depending on the cards you are buffing. And the first card we had buffed, of course, is going to be Ares. What do we think about the Ares change? I know, Dance, you kind of felt a little bit personal with this change itself, but what do you think?
Can I spoil the generic theme of these changes, I think, just to go into them? Because one of the reasons and why it's going to be potentially more of a shorter section is every single one of the cards we're talking about here only got a +1 from what they had before. So Ares was a 4/6 and then went to a 4/7. And no other change in the ability, no other changes in that stuff. I didn't mind this change. I liked Ares already as I was trying to figure out stuff that I could mess with Wilson Fisk. I thought this was cool, but I'm actually going to push this because when I was coaching with Smlz, I think unless my headache would really screwed me over, I'm pretty sure Smlz had a very different take than I did on these changes, in which I was like, it's fine, it's nothing crazy, but I didn't have any issues. Smlz, you had some takes about this, I remember.
Yeah, I don't like this OTA at all. A lot of these cards were bad. Like, let's just say it out of this. These were bad cards. And giving it a +1 makes it more likely to be a fine card instead of a good card. So we're not really pushing these cards into actually being good cards. We're just kind of keeping them mid. Ares is one that, to be honest, I don't want to be good just because of how much variance it has. So this is a card, especially in a deck that we know is as unfun to play against as 10s. I'm fine giving like Ares a +1. Like this change I'm completely fine with. I've been playing Ares in a deck that Dance made over the past week or so. It's been pretty solid. I think Ares is like a fine card now. This is like the example of the +1 buffs I like to cards that like are in like a space that is kind of like unfun, and like I don't really want Ares to be like a meta defining or like a good card that I have to worry about every game. I'm happy with this change specifically. I think it was one that Ares needed. But when we get to a couple others, and there's one in particular that I have in mind, it's just like, why are we doing this?
It's fair.
Yeah, I think it's fair. Like, in it, like with Ares too, I feel like even right now with the +1 change, like if you're playing Daredevil Shadowlands, I feel like you're often not hitting that like plus +6 right now, just because like even though yes, you know, you have some bigger cards in your deck, it feels like just curve wise, you're honestly, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but like I'm not hitting that +6 on Ares. Like I get like the extra point of power is, cool just at a 4/7 stat line, but I've came to the point where like when I was running like Daredevil Shadowlands decks, which is like one of the like emphases they put on with this buff in the OTA, I'm honestly running like a Cold Obsidian or like a Crossbones still instead of Ares, just so I'm guaranteed to get a 10. Granted, I'm still playing the Scar style opposed to like any Sugi kind of Stardust kind of tech style, which of course is different. I'm trying, of course, to hit that 10 plus to be able to get the Scar value, which is kind of why I have that kind of take on Ares itself too, because I'm playing a little bit differently maybe than some of the other, styles of decks that I've seen with like kind of the big dumb idiot stuff. But I mean, I like as a +1, I don't hate it, but like it didn't give me like the, I don't know if it's the ick, like some of the other ones. I'm like, why? Like, why did some of these other cards even get a change?
This one was interesting, though. I think the first two are the most interesting out of all of them, for what it's worth, because right when we talk about it, I'm gonna going back to the first one for a second, real quick, because what they mentioned with Ares was they said that they wanted they had the potential for Surtur to come back. They didn't want to buff Surtur because they don't enjoy when his gameplay is the best style. But they said that they were like, they thought that he would come back due to just how the metagame was shifting and all that stuff. And even if it didn't, it's not like a lasting stay. He did start seeing play even before the OTA due to just them having like, just because they could put all these big cards in the game, like Wilson Fisk. You had the Strange Supreme stuff. Like, legit, I think one of your Strange Supreme lists, I think I remember with like Thanos, I saw people doing with Surtur and using cards like Wilson Fisk as well, just to get those big cards and have it be okay, which was, don't know if it was good, but they said they expected it to come back with that. And I think it did, but not back. It's like you saw it again. It's not back, but like it is there. I don't know. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense, but it's like Starbrand exists now, and it's like I would just rather play Starbrand out and then play the Surtur. Like Surtur just, well, if I don't have Starbrand, I can play Surtur out. Surtur just kind of feels a little bit slow. Like if Surtur was a 3/6, then I think I would feel a bit better playing Surtur right now. And like, when you add like Techno Virus onto a card that makes it 10 power, that does not proc Surtur. So like Wilson Fisk getting added to the board, if it doesn't have an additional buff, it's just 9 power, so Surtur doesn't get that buff. But I mean, base stat line, I guess you're talking about too, like you're playing a 10 drop, you're getting Surtur to a 3/7. Like I just feel like if we did want more Surtur back, which, like they said, they kind of sort of wanted something like that, Surtur I think needed to be like a 3/6 if he's staying +2.
I think Surtur at any way where it can get to 3/10 by itself without any support, like just by playing 10 power cards, if you can get Surtur to a 3/10 without either putting an Awesome Andy on it or a Titan Organic Virus on it, then I think it's always been problematic historically, even when they hard capped it. So I just don't necessarily think that's I wouldn't call that a change that I would foresee as in the cards. Like, I think it's also better when they make Surtur weaker and they make the 10 stronger, for the main reason being that, like, the 10s are, like, the interesting part of it, I think. Like, Surtur is kind of like the boring part. Like, it's a set and forget, whereas the 10s, like, you're choosing where they're going to go. You got it. Sometimes you want to remove their abilities, like with Starburn and Red Skull, or in Typhoid, you want to remove their abilities. There's a lot more dynamic. I don't think it's a very dynamic deck at all, but there's a lot more like decision points when it comes to like those 4 10s, and I think that is kind of where you want to put the power in the deck, as opposed to like the set and forget thing. Like even when we're looking at cards that kind of like scale, like Moondragon and Chamber got nerfed because they're very much set and forget. In a card like Shadowlands Daredevil, which is like affecting your draws, it's also like a set and forget scaler, and it's good and it always gets big. I prefer to put the power in like what the actual card is doing and like the decision points of where do I play this, rather than did I draw this. It's very different, and I would prefer to put, again, I don't think Surtur to 3/6 or giving him his ability to hit 10 power before turn 6 again. No, I don't like that change.
It would make him better, but he doesn't like necessarily like it is a feels bad meta change. It would make certain better, but in general, I get that there. Now, before Dance, what if Typhoid Mary is not -2 anymore and Typhoid Mary goes back to -1? Ongoing.
I don't hate it. It's not amazing, but it's definitely not atrocious. I don't know.
I think the card still sucks.
It's still not amazing, but like, does Typhoid Mary need to be a -2 right now? This is more so my thought process. Yeah.
Yeah, I think you're right on that, Tuck.
That's a fair point. And all right, so Ares was cool. I didn't mind it, right? But the interesting thing I thought when Silver Samurai went from a 4/5 to a 4/6 was it hit that 6-power break line. I don't know if y'all have done it, but like, have you messed with any like Black Bolt, Silver Samurai, Shadowlands Daredevil? I'm seeing the yes and the no from the others. I just realized when we have 3 people on, God, I'm like so alone over here in this corner.
Maybe we'll have 4 people on soon.
Oh, there you go. God, I need someone below me. Not like below me, but like I just need someone on this side so I don't have to feel so like ostracized.
Okay.
That's it. No.
Okay, but so yeah, Silver Samurai.
For the next card.
Silver Samurai got adjusted in the OTA, went from a 4/5 to a 4/6. I've tested it in some of like the Black Bolt stature stuff, which like it's a fun deck, and like I climbed a little bit with it. We made some content on it or whatever, but it still is just not in like the best spot. Like you could play it in like the Gore style deck because then like you're really targeting stuff better. Like I was playing it in Odd Hawk, and like I felt like I was like. The more I played, I was like, instead of Silver Samurai, I just want to run Cosmo. Like literally, I just want to run Cosmo instead of Silver Samurai. In this, I mean, there's instances, yeah, I discarded, a Victoria hand, I discarded a Gambit, and like it felt good, but it was like this card, that deck, as much as you would maybe need some more love for it, do we really want that hand disruption style decks to be like super good? Like probably not. We don't probably want, additional Silver Samurais. Black Bolt did get adjusted in OTA previously, is now it's a 5/8. And like Black Bolt, I don't feel bad. Sometimes, they discard my card, my lowest cost card. I'm like, oh man, I was going to use that. But it's not like, oh, this is like more random. I'm setting on my hand for a different style play. The more kind of situations like Mill is just not fun to play against. Like we were talking about like Surtur and Big Dumb Idiots and stuff, like Surtur's just big boring thing happens. Like the other time is I don't get to play my cards because I have no cards to play. Do we really want this to be like super relevant in the meta? So like I'm glad that they gave a card exchange to maybe give some sort of life to that deck, but at the same time, we don't really want that deck to be everywhere.
I mean, yeah, I think this is a bad card to be good. It's just an unfun card. But also, as long as this card costs 4 and has like below 8 power, it will never be good. The problem as well is that I think Moon Knight has a better effect.
Yeah.
And a 3/3 is better than a 4/6. Just because it costs 3, and on 4 there's like way more impactful stuff to do.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that this card is just kind of like, this is one of the buffs that makes me hate this OTA. It's like it's like this card will now be just good enough to avoid either getting an actual buff to the card to make it viable, or B, getting a rework because it just clearly doesn't work. So now we're kind of in this weird spot where this card's probably going to stay at 4/6 for over a year. It's going to see 1% of play. It's going to have a 48% win rate, and it's never going to get changed. So this is the reason why I hate the OTA. It's just putting these cards into no man's land. Like Silver Samurai released into no man's land. He hasn't done anything, and he's going to continue to not do anything. Like this card just doesn't even like make me think of something. Because at least with a card like Moon Knight, after it got buffed to discard the even cost cards, we saw it in like that Fenris Wolf Proxima Midnight deck. It can target discard the Proxima. It's a really good disruptor against 6 cost cards. So people might be running Moon Knight right now to try to discard the Mother Ascani before it can be played on turn 4, especially in decks like Surfer that are running so many odd costed cards. It's like this guy doesn't have the upside of being able to target like a 2/4/6 curve. Like this is just like, you're probably targeting 1 costs most of the time if we're being honest. So I don't know. I think that this card is too slow to have an actual impact on a game to discard like a high priority low power card, but also it's just good enough to the point where it's like never going to get buffed. And like I don't like this card, but also feels like a bit of a cruel existence for a Snap card.
I think I really agree with that, but I agree with your statement that it's now going to be in no man's land. It's going to have all this stuff. But I think the thing you said at the beginning of that, right, where this card released in no man's land, I feel like that's a problem of the design of this card more than anything else, because they made a card that can't be good. Right? They can't. Silver Samurai can never be good. This card is basically what they want this card to be is this is going to be 1 power below what is the base cost, the vanilla cost of a card. So Silver Samurai being a 4/6, I think this makes sense, and it probably is where legitimately, if this card released as a 4/6, probably would have been very good. But honestly, I think this is where the card should be. 1 below the vanilla stat line, because you do not want it to be too good, because, right, like, the same reason that Mill being a good deck doesn't feel great. It's the same thing. It's just like, it sucks just losing all your pieces. And one of the things you mentioned earlier, which actually, it made me think about a different card, but you mentioned Moon Knight and how he does have a better effect. And I thought of Moon Knight having a better effect. I also look at Gambit. How do y'all feel about base Gambit? Because base Gambit's getting played now just as a way to destroy cards.
Awesome. One of the second best design card in the entire game. I think he's incredible.
I don't. Doc, how do you feel?
I don't mind Gambit. I mean, it feels bad when it hits that 1 out of 6, that 1 out of 10, like in those situations. But when it's the other way around, it's a feels good. I just hit a clip. Gambit just saved me the game. Like, I don't mind it. Like, I definitely is like, oh no, Gambit destroyed my key card. I mean, but like, if I have 2 cards on the board, 50-50, like, Gambit is like one of those like cards in Snap that's, I'm playing the odds. This either happens or that happens. I have an opportunity to hit these 3 cards on this side and I win. I hit these other 3 cards, I lose. Like, it feels like you're wagering a lot more when you're playing Gambit, which I actually don't mind. And I think that's kind of like Snap at a core, in a sense, is kind of like a gamble. Like, am I going to draw the cards to win? You're always waiting for that top deck to win the game, or like you're waiting for that top deck to counter, what's going on. And I feel like Gambit kind of is in a way pretty solid in that aspect.
That's fair. I think it's the feels, and that's the part that I've said it before, and I'll say it again. I suck at evaluating cards when it's based off of feelings, because I have the negative feeling, and so I'll associate that. But I also can't speak to the strength of the cards, which is why I tried to push that over to y'all. But that's fair. That's fair. I don't know. I like your points though about Silver Samurai not really still being great. Speaking of the fact they had to buff, I'm gonna just kind of as a lead-in. They buffed 3 different cards from the Guardian season. And we'll talk about all of them as we get to them. Starhawk went from a 2/2 to a 2/3.
I love Starhawk. He's awesome. He's so cool. Do I think this buff is going to matter for him? He's a 2/7 now, so he might actually be solid. But in general, I think that it's just a bit too finicky of an effect to be like really good, but the card is certainly playable now. Like on the lower costed cards like this, like I don't actually mind the +1s at all. Like if it's a 2 cost or a 1 cost, we've seen those before can have large impacts. Nightcrawler got +1 power, and he went from unplayable to one of the best 1-drops in the entire game. 2 costs, it's not like as big of a difference as 1 cost, but it's still pretty big. I can see Starhawk getting used as like a surprise back buffer though. Just like you don't think I can back buff my lane? Guess what? I just Starhawked. Very similar role to Wolverine Horseman of War for me, which I think is one of the most underrated cards in the game right now. Wolverine Horseman of War, people just never play around it. It's really hard to do Wolverine math and math out other points. It just gives you so many options for a turn 6 where your opponent has no idea what they're going to do. Starhawk kind of adds to that, and it's cards like this that I enjoy like leveraging as a player that are like, you didn't expect me to do this, and now I just did. I'll take my 8 cubes, please and thank you.
Yeah, I mean, I think that those are like really good points. This is like, for me, it's like if I get a generated Starhawk, I'm not like upset. I mean, even when I was at a 2/2, I wasn't upset. Like it's like I'm running Maria Hill, the new 1/3 Maria Hill, and I get Starhawk. It's like okay, yeah, like I like Smlz was saying, like I have this surprise factor now that can give me those extra points that you guys weren't accounting for. And I think that's really good as like just as that as like kind of like a baseline. Am I seeing that this is going to be like in so many different buff decks? No. But this also was a game mode card that hopefully more players have access to if they don't have access to maybe some of the more expensive cards. And so this getting a buff is pretty good for maybe a quality of life kind of change for like some substitutions people need in those style decks. So like I think that's like pretty cool at the end of the day, like a card that people could have potentially gotten for free from a game mode got a buff, and that's something that I really enjoy there. But you know, not the worst.
Oh, you want to talk about the worst? That's the best segue I could do right there. That's a fantastic segue. Talking about Kraglin going to a 3/4 from a 3/3,
right?
Smlz, have you heard my take of what I want this to do instead? Because Tuck hates it, but I love it still.
I have not heard your take, but I want to go last on Kraglin here. I have some points.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you my take. You can give your opinion just on that before you say actually Kraglin. But I want, instead of the +4 power, I want it to draw you a card. And I think it has to lose points. But this card should be good. I don't think this card should be this crap. I don't think that this should be a 3/8. I think I'd like this card to actually be good.
I'll go after Tuck.
Anyway,
that directly contributes to what I was going to talk about. So
heck yeah. I'll just say that I think this is, I mean, in terms of +1s, this is probably a +1. You could probably care about this more if it gets to a 3/5, but it's also, I think, as a 3. This is at least where this is where it should have released. I don't know if it's, I'd be surprised if it's good, but this is where it should have released.
Yes, I think it should have released at this. I'm still not a huge fan of this card. And like I said last week, I wasn't a huge fan of what you had wanted to do ability-wise. But I mean, still do not buy this card. That's simple as that. Just do not buy this card, please. But yeah, this happened, you know, and it happened. That's all I got.
Mm-hmm.
I've been playing Kraglin. There is a hella Agatha deck that unironically runs Kraglin because he is the best in slot, because not only is he a 3-cost ramper to help you get Agatha out a turn early, and that's kind of what he does, and there's not many 3-cost rampers in the game that hella actually wants. And number 2, if this drew you a card, it's all of a sudden like Agatha can get you to see all 12 cards in your deck every game. And that sounds a little bit ridiculous. Just a little bit. So yeah, I think this card is, I would not go to draw. Draw seems way too strong, especially on a 3-cost card. I think that if you just bump this guy up to 3/5, he's fine. Like, I don't actually think he's that bad at 3/4. Like, I think he's like, he went from like a 2 out of 10 to like a 5 or 6 out of 10. Like 3/8 is good stats if it bricks, and if not, 3/4 plus 2 energy. Like that's not bad, especially considering it has good synergy with Agatha, because it allows you to play that out on turn 4. So it's like, if you didn't get your red shift, this is the second way to play out the Agatha before turn 5. So yeah, I think this is a +1 that, like, if I'm being honest, the Kraglin deck was still playing him at 3/3. 3/5 is the buff I actually want to see to this card. And it's kind of like, why aren't we giving some of these cards +2s? Like this and another one, it's like, if you put this to 3/5, it's straight up a good card. So why couldn't we just put it to 3/5? Why do we got to do it to 3/4? Ramp cards are already like some of the strongest in the game. Luna Snow's a 3/6, Wave's a 3/6. Why can't Kraglin be a 3/5 that can be a 3/9 or a ramper? I mean, 3/9 stat stick, that's where Gladiator should be. He's not even there.
Yeah, and the banish aspect too. Like, it has one of the bigger downsides for a ramp card than some of the other ramp cards. Giving my opponent extra energy, yes, that can be a feels bad, but you can kind of mitigate that. You know, giving my opponent the chance to play one of their big cards at a 4 cost can be a feels bad. But literally banishing a card from my deck, which I have no way to get that card back, is potentially a bigger downside than.
There's another whole part of it too, because you also show your opponent what card they don't you no longer have, and I think that I would argue that hurts more because your opponent gets to know what you lose.
Trying to figure out where to point, but yes, I agree with Dance Philly. The downside isn't actually the banishing of the card; it's that your opponent gets to see the card that gets banished. They know that you're not drawing that. If it was just like banish the top card and your opponent doesn't get to see it, then all that's doing is it's just doing a neutral effect. Like, it's just like ignore the first half of the card. your opponent seeing that you're not getting that card this game. Oh no, I banished my Hela. I'm gonna retreat for 1. GG's. It's like, come on, man.
Moment, no, same way. Would that be a better buff for Moment as well? Moment not letting your opponent know. I mean, because like when you play something like different wise, right? If you play something like Sandstorm, your opponent doesn't necessarily know how big your rocks are unless they, they can count, of course, the cards you have in the front row. But if they can count, then you generate that. But like with Moment, you banish the top card. Your opponent sees what card you're banishing in order to get that power onto Moment. I don't know if that's something. I mean, it's kind of different, but
I just realized as well. I think we can talk about these a lot. I'm just going to say we should speed this up. We have a whole tier list we're going to go through, and we've spent, I think, a very good chunk of time talking about, I think we've gone to +4 points of power in this OTA. How do you mind? Would you both mind if I asked that we all can like move along? So I've talked about the tier list. I also think these are good conversations, but I also don't want to I don't want us to release a 3-hour episode, Tuck.
Yeah, that's fair. Okay. Zombie Captain Marvel should have been a 4/6 instead of a 4/5, so she'd also be the same as her counterpart.
Agree. I've been playing this card anyways.
Yeah.
It's still just as bad as before, but it fulfills a very specific niche in Phantomax, which is a good deck right now, so that's what I'm doing.
Yes. I think that's the same thing with both Zombie Captain Marvel and Spider-Man Noir, who's the other card that both went from A4/4 to A4/5. Both of them should have gone to 4/6, and also this doesn't do anything for either one of them because you're still playing it, I feel like, in the exact same type of decks. Right? I'm not just plugging Spider-Man Noir into another deck. I'm not just plugging Zombie Captain Marvel into another deck. No, I'm still using them in the same places. They now just have more points, and maybe that's enough for that second dinner says it's okay. But I do think that both of these should have. I think it's fair to say 4/6 for both.
Yeah.
I think that's fair, yeah.
What about Major Victory?
Major Failure should be a 2 cost.
What if you remove Mantis?
That's the biggest thing I think against this card. If you remove Mantis, this card's better. 100%.
Oh, definitely. Why can't we buff Mantis, though?
Well, okay, so here's what I want them to do. I think Mantis is just a big mistake as well. But I actually would say, if you do something with Major Victory, I want them to make this a high Evo. And just change all the Guardians. Just give them give them Team Clash text. I don't know. Upgrade your Guardians game start, and just give me Team Clash versions of the cards.
I hate how much I like that.
A Series 4 game mode card gets a rework to enable all the other.
I don't care.
It becomes the best bounce card ever. By the way, you're getting a 3/4 Drax that doubles on bounce. That sounds awesome. You get the Gamora finisher.
Yeah,
dude, you probably awesome. I want this.
It's cool, but it would be this card has to be like a 3/1, 3/2. Like you nerf this card into the ground. You make it basically how old Haiva was. It's a dead draw. But you buff it up and you do that instead. I just don't think I'm ever going to care about getting 2 members of the Guardians crew. It's either they remove Mantis from that group, which I don't think they will, or you just rework it and you let me do cool things with the cards instead of the crap.
Sure. I'd be down to see what would happen. Why not? A little spice.
Who cares? Age of Coulson should have been a 3/5, by the way, as well. Both of these two. You should have been.
Yeah.
It.
Yeah, not much to say about this one.
This is the card thing that there's the least to say about. Straight up, Age of Coulson is just like, okay, cool. Yeah, I should have been here.
Yep. Arisham's nerf back in end of 2024 is the reason why this card is unplayable. It was really good in one deck, and that was it. And now it just sucks everywhere.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
that's fair.
But we also do have, before the tier list, we're going to be talking about 2 of the new cards that are going to be releasing this week. The first card, of course, is going to be the good old Punisher War Machine, the 2-cost, 2-powered objective card. When drawn, mark one of your empty locations. And then objective, win that location, you get +1 max energy. And of course, looking at the way this works, by the way, so you could win that location, and, Punisher will say it's got that, the 1 out of 1, but Punisher has to be on the board when you win that location in order to give you that +1 max energy. So you have to get that objective met on a turn where Punisher's on the board, it doesn't just automatically proc. Like some of these other objectives, you meet the objective in hand, you play it, automatically happens. You still have to concurrently meet the objective when you play out the Punisher War Machine.
I do think that it should. This is one where I would say this is probably should say be winning that location.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we, when objective came out, we had a big talk about like concurrent, that word about the stuff. And I think this is not clear about that. And I think this should say be winning it. But otherwise, this is the card that I am most uncertain on. It could be either really great or really bad. I have no idea. We're going to figure out. I think there's a lot of ways you could use it, but it's also a really bad late draw. It's a 2/2. There's a lot going against this card, but there's also a lot for it. So I'm really 50-50. I'm like, I'm all over this card. Not all over, but like I'm all over rankings or whatever, but still it's a fun card. I don't hate this card in the slightest. How do y'all feel?
I think this card would have been very bad if Daredevil Shadowlands did not release. I think you're playing those two in every deck. I'm just looking at it from the perspective of two decks mainly. So the first one I'm going to touch about is Ramp, because that's the deck that I'm going to be trying this in first tomorrow. Ramp is a deck that really wants 3 rampers, but only has the luxury of having 2. I used to run Superior Spider-Man in my ramp decks. It's just like a 3rd ramper. And that card is just like, 3/4 is just not very good. And also because you can't blink it. Punisher, you can blink it, and it doesn't. 2/2 is better than 3/4. So we'll start there. But also, Punisher War Machine, being able to play a Daredevil into that location and then play a Demon and then Punisher War Machine into that the next turn. Having just that scaler that you can put in there as well as Punisher War Machine that isn't like a Moon Dragon, so that's like not going to scale again, I think is very valuable. Also, being able to go 2/1, super strong. This card's biggest weakness is that it's a 2/2. If you can alleviate that by either blinking or something like that, really, really good. The other deck that I did want to touch on is Techno-Organic Virus. With this card, bodies matter less with that deck because you're already running, like you could be running 1/6s, 2/6s, 3/10s. I know I run Ares in there, so it's a 4/13 in there. Being a 2/2 does not matter there, but that deck also like couldn't get a lot of use out of that +1 energy, whether that means you play 1 extra virus that game to give like a total of like +9 power, whether that be you're playing an extra demon. I know I already run Black Swan in that deck to get another copy of Virus to be able to play, as well as be able to play my demons for free on the final turn of the game. Punisher War Machine is doing that, but kind of without a lot of the clunkiness on the earlier turns. So I do think that Punisher War Machine will be a good card in both Ramp and in Virus decks, and I'm excited to play with it tomorrow. It looks like a very fun card with a, might I add, beautiful Victor Pharaoh variant.
Yeah. Speaking of, this is your deck that you said you were trying to mess with it, and I think you said you're going to take out the King E-Tree here, right? For the
correct.
That's where you wanted to put in Punisher War Machine. Okay.
Yeah, King E-Tree sucks in here. It's just like the best of like the sucky cards.
Yeah, and I think you hit it really right on the the noggin there too. Is like you're using the Punisher War Machine as just a body for enabling other stuff later on. So getting rid of it or putting a Techno-Organic Virus on it, because like with Techno-Organic Virus, the more cards you have on the board that you can hit with that Techno-Organic Virus, the kind of better for you as well too, because they're just going to continue to scale and scale and scale the more viruses you play. So like, yeah, this card has a bad, downside if you don't draw it, or if all locations are full, or like not full, but all locations have a card in it when you do draw it. But it's kind of like the Jennifer Kale aspect, but the difference with like Jennifer Kale is Jennifer Kale also has to be on the board turn prior to be able to activate it to get that extra energy. And you don't have that extra +1 max energy for the rest of the game. Whereas like with Punisher War Machine, you do get that +1 max energy for the rest of the game. Which is really, really great in that sense. So like I think this card definitely has a lot of really solid potential. Of course, having the right curve in order to be able to do so is something to keep in mind. But I think the 2 cost plus a 1 cost, having whether it's a demon or a martyr to be able to help win some of those lanes going into like a turn 3, especially like because you're pretty much going to be trying to do this onto turn 3. I mean, there's instances where you'll have martyr on the board turn 1, playing that into that Punisher War Machine lane, and then you play Punisher War Machine on 2, and then you have the +1 max energy for the rest of the game. Perfect curve, right? And your opponent's not contesting that. So like that's with Martyr's buff is really good there. And then like you said, with Daredevil Shadowlands is great, which I was actually, you know, thinking of doing like a techno-organic, just really big cards style deck, which we have Starbrand in here as well as another one of those cards you could play out onto turn 3 to potentially win that lane for your Punisher War Machine. So like that's what's going to be, you know, I think pretty just impactful in general is playing these big cards, whether it's Fisk, whether it's Starbrand, in order to do that. This is kind of, you know, just some of the big dumb idiot stuff I've been playing. I don't really like playing the tech version. I just play big cards. I play the dumb stuff, which is why I was, you know, advocating for Surtur and stuff there, because I play that style. I don't play like the Negasonic, you know, Super Giant, Stardust style stuff. So like this was kind of like the general idea I had, but I think, yeah, you just have some big enablers for this. And if you don't get it, like I had Luna Snow in here originally, I think you only getting the max energy is really good. Like the Superior Spider-Man shout is like kind of like what I was thinking about too. Like the floor and the ceiling for this card, it's either something like a Jennifer Kale where it's like, well, I maybe get to hit this once, or it's something like a Superior Spider-Man, like as like the ceiling for this card. Because it's not anything flashy. Like Superior Spider-Man is not flashy, but having +1 energy, but your downside with the +1 energy with Superior Spider-Man is you have to have buffs on the board in order for that to happen.
Wait, I just saw Smlz had a very intense reaction. I just wanted to hear that.
I think the ceiling of this card is higher than Superior Spider-Man. I think the ceiling of this card is Luna Snow. Like I think the ceiling of this card is just the generic ramper for a variety of decks and stuff like that. I think Superior Spider-Man falls into the flaw of like needing a buff. Like I think that's like the most likely outcome for this card, that he ends up somewhere near Superior Spider-Man for those decks that like he's really good for the decks that want him, but it's a narrow. It's not as generic as Luna Snow. But I do think like Luna Snow is the ceiling. I was like, wow, this is like really good.
With less downside than Luna Snow, giving your opponent extra energy. Just the downside is having the right tempo to get it out early enough. Yeah. Dance?
It's I like it. It's gonna be a really fun card. I think this is also gonna be a very good deck. I think I like it, particularly the Techno-Organic Fire stuff. This is not the final 12 cards, but I like the idea of doing Wiccan stuff. And I actually could have sworn I had Merlin in here, and I guess I don't anymore. But Merlin should be in this deck because you also want that in order to potentially clear out a lane if you need to. As well as you could be able to, what's the card? Polymorphing away the Punisher, because I liked that idea as well for these cards. This is just another place I don't want to mess with the stuff. Do I know if it's probably not the final one, but I do really like it and I want to mess with this.
Yeah. I think this is an interesting, you know, idea and stuff too. I mean, you have Daredevil in here, you have big cards. I like the idea of being able to, you know, once in future, like rocks out of here, to be able to just have extra energy to kind of do stuff, and then you have Adam to draw cards. Like, I think it's not a bad idea, but I think we're probably going to see more so big cards like the techno stuff, or using it as like the ramp kind of deck for like the more natural homes, I would probably say, for Punisher War Machine. But this is I like this take as well.
Yeah. I mean, fun stuff. I like the card. But as you mentioned, you alluded to earlier, that's also not the only card that we are getting this week. We are getting, along with, I believe it's Sanctum Showdown Surge, I want to say. We are going to be getting Ikari, who is a 4/12 releasing in that game mode on the 14th, with the ability, you can only play this where an enemy is afflicted with negative power. And so this card asks one really big thing of you that a lot of players won't be able to do. It asks you to play Affliction.
Yes. But I was talking about this on the pod this past week with Glazer too. I was like, my copium for this is actually playing this in a Dormammu deck and running Airwalker.
Airwalker was not where I was getting with this. I was largely thinking this is a cool Dormammu card. It's like you afflict the lane and then you play 2-cost spell plus 4-cost Ikari on turn 6, and it's just like, well, that actually fits kind of nicely in your curve. Also, you can be a Marrow deck, and Marrow allows you to kind of play this in all 3 lanes. I think Marrow is the number one, like, this card's best friend. That being said, 4/12 is not enough stats at this point in the game if you're going to be doing something to be able to play it. Like, they're too scared to print 4/big and 5/big as well, for that matter. There's a reason why the two best like pure statistics in the game are Debris and Starbrand.
Yep, I like it. It's gonna be an interesting card. I'm also stoked to see if how much you even need to do like the affliction stuff, because I think there's a very realistic world in which I'm not trying to do any affliction, and I just put this inside of a War Machine style of deck. I don't know if it's good, but I think that's a legitimate place to think of.
Yeah, I think it's maybe it's like, well, I don't have some of these other Series 4, Series 5 cards that I maybe might run instead, so like I'll put an Akari in there. Like, I think what I like is, like, I say this again, like I feel like I say this every time we have a game mode card, is I like we're having accessibility to some of these cards for people that maybe are, you know, lower CL or potentially entering into Snap for like the first time, having opportunities, you know, get cards like this to like learn whether it is, you know, like fundamentals of like I can only play this when this happens, because, you know, there are certain cards that have like limitations and stuff, and I think like Smlz was saying too, like a bunch of like 4-cost have specific limitations that kind of just make them kind of unplayable or just literally just bad. So like, yeah, this is 12 power, but like the decks, like if I really want to play it into an affliction deck, does it actually make it in those like that 12 set cards, or like like what exactly am I playing? And I think that's why it's like the hybrid, like using a Marrow. I said like Rocket and Groot a while back, but Rocket and Groot, you know, is a bit of copium. You can of course move Rocket and Groot around so you have different lanes or whatever. But it'll be just interesting to see truly, does this card land, or is this just another attempt of trying to do something potentially, you know, cool, and then seeing kind of, you know, what happens.
I like this card. I think it's a really cool one though.
Yeah, it's cool. But we're about to get to, I think, our coolest section of the Yap over here, as we are now finally moving on over to our 2-cost tier list, which we've been hyping up, you know, the entire Yap today. But we're here, and we don't normally do like S, A, B, C, D, and then I can add F, or we can just say D is just
throw in an F.
Add.
Gotta do F.
Right. So I'm gonna, while you set that up, one of the things I like for this, and Smlz, I like the way you've done this in some of your tier lists, where you establish a baseline for what this lowest, like for the lowest tier actually is, right? So what would you? I feel like one thing we could maybe all do as Tuck sets this bit up is figure out a card that embodies each tier and be like, and again, I know you also just don't typically rank within those tiers. I don't know if we will today, but we just say like, okay, this is a card that embodies whatever tier this actually is, and we move on from there like that. I think that's a fun way to go through these cards as well, just to give us a baseline. And I don't think we need to rank inside of the tiers, as again, I'm gonna follow his lead in this, as that's the way he typically does it on his channel. But are you guys okay with that, to follow that, to basically give us a baseline for each letter?
Yeah, I think the baseline is a really good way to start. I typically don't rank within tiers, because I think that's like, the tier should say what it says about the card. Like, I understand if you want to rank like S tier in order, just because like those are the best cards in the game, and it's a more interesting discussion, I think. But when it comes to the tiers, like I think each tier should say something. Like, for example, S tier for me, this is a meta-defining card. Like, this card is so good, you can justify a nerf for it. It's meta-defining. It does all these great things. A tier is more like this is a good card. Like, I cannot deny, like, this card is just a good card. It goes in decks, it works, it's great. B tier, you're seeing those very narrow good cards. Like, take for example, I'll give a 3-cost example, like Corvus Glaive. Like, it's a very narrow card, but it does its thing well. That'd be kind of like a B tier for me, especially because this deck isn't necessarily S tier. C tier is the definition of mid for me. D tier is bad. F is unplayable.
Yeah, that works.
I like these cards. Can we, again, just getting baseline, like, for an F tier, I just think Baron Mordo is a very easy answer.
Yeah, agree. 100%. I was thinking Bucky Barnes for D tier.
I'm upset with you. I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm just upset.
Yeah. No, I think
I don't know you were a Bucky fan.
I like Bucky's fun, bro. I love it. I love the bad story.
Agent Venom be C tier.
Ooh, that's a good C. I don't hate that.
I think Age of Venom is kind of the definition of mid at this point. Yeah, we can put him there.
How did you describe B again? Because I think I have an answer for that one then too.
So my answer for B is Adam Warlock because he's really good in his specific decks. For example, Zombie Galacti. Those decks aren't necessarily like super good, but Warlock is always kind of like he's always in something. Like he's always solid there. He's the best like draw card. He's the only good like card that lets you draw more cards because he costs 2. It's just a solid card all around. Like not bad at all.
Tuck, I don't know what I'm gonna throw S tier on you for potential, but I feel like if we talk about A tier, can we say Lizard?
Ooh, I like the Lizard shout. I was gonna say Cable, but I think they're both pretty similar. Lizard's definitely seen a lot more play with Techno-Organic Virus and Wilson Fisk though.
I like that. Tuck, who would you say is S? Well, what's like an S tier card to give us a baseline as we start
Fastball
this off
special.
Here? I was thinking A for that one.
I was thinking A as well. For 2s that are S, I think we gotta go with the GOAT Sam Wilson. He's always there. He's just awesome.
Do Sam Wilson and S as a baseline.
Yeah, and we can argue fastball special. I think if we all agree on one, that's a good way to say it's a baseline. We can argue individual cards as we go through this. But yeah, so this is a baseline, right? Like cards that are like just absolutely fantastic, cards that are just good, cards that are like good in specific decks, cards that are maybe mid specific decks, cards that are bad, still playable, cards that are unplayable as we go through each of these tiers. I'm good with this. Y'all want to jump in?
Let's do it.
Sounds good.
So
Get
Angel.
the mouse. I'm letting you.
Regular Angel.
Is that
Default.
Yeah,
Angel.
regular Angel. Yeah, I think you said D right there. Is that what I heard? Default?
Yeah, I heard D as well. Yeah.
D is a default Angel. What about Angela?
I'm between 2. And they're not very good.
I'm upset that I'm going to say D again.
Yes.
I think F. I think she's unplayable.
She probably is at the moment.
I think she will. Oh god! At the moment, I want to give a shout to Boost season. Boost is like
he's gonna be even more unplayable then. They're releasing like Angela but better in every single possible way, except having 1 less point of power.
Yeah, you're gonna play. Angela,
you're not wrong. I'm
you're
just
playing
upset
Angela
with you.
with Jeff. Like you're just gonna be like, you know what?
That's what I want.
It's gonna take up a card slot for me. I'm gonna put Angela in.
No, you play
I'm not saying you're. I'm not. You're not wrong. I'm just mad at you both.
Well, you can play Angela, or instead of Angela, you can play Bishop and Venus. Then you can get Bishop scaling +2. That's cool.
Don't even, bro. You can't bring a Bishop around Tucker. Tucker and I have arguments on Bishop like each week at this point. I don't know how it's becoming a bit at this point, Tuck. I'm actually annoyed at that.
Yep.
But it's such a. Anyway, Archangel. You both actually. So during my stream, you both I think had a certain take on him. I'm very different. I'll default to y'all.
No, Dan. So we want to hear where you want to put Archangel first.
I want to see.
Oh, you want to hear that?
Yes.
It's right next to Angel, actually. In my mind.
I think
you disagree, Tuck?
I think he's actually probably C. Like I
agree with Tuck. Yeah, I agree with Tuck here. It's a 2/9, dude. 2/9 is a lot.
It's a fringe
2/9 in a deck that doesn't want a 2/9.
But it's a fringe C tier card. Like it's not like, oh, I'm in like the top half of C tier. It's like it's on the curve. Like if the cliff is right there, Angel is dangling off the cliff towards D, but it is a C tier card.
Bro, let Angel fall then. What do you mean? He's got wings. He can dangle off that cliff as long as he wants. Armor, I think, is B.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, y'all, is the Scotty Sun S or A?
A.
Yeah, I think it's A.
Okay.
It's second best in its category, which isn't bad at all. It's just second best in its category.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Now we got an S tier card right here. S tier. If I'm being honest, Ozymandias a C tier card. He's fine.
Yeah,
he's mid. He's very mid. They should make him not mid so that I can flex my diamonds on him.
That's entirely fair. I think Black Swan, as much as she's gotten more, my take is that even though the Black Swan's gotten more take with or play with Techno-Organic Virus, I think she is also still C tier.
I think she's B tier.
I feel like it's like, I don't know, it's like it's a in between like B and C tier, like if we're being like really honest.
Can I pitch you on B?
Yeah, what's the pitch for B?
Okay, the pitch for B is this reduces techno-organic virus down to 0. Going 4+3 is a very smooth curve, so you can get an extra virus play on turn 6. Also, Daredevil gives you 1-cost cards. Shifting those to 0 can also widely impact your turn 6 as well. There is a lot of stuff like virus, demons. 1-costs are kind of very much back in the meta right now. And Black Swan has a very unique curve smoothing effect at 2/3, and it's also the best virus discount synergy instead of Mobius, because you can activate her on 5 and then play the virus on her, so that the virus still costs 0, so it makes your virus lines less awkward instead of not being able to virus Mobius until turn 6. I think it's the best virus synergy, and I think virus is an A or maybe even S tier card, so I'd put Black Swan in B. I think it's a powerful enough synergy that it's above Agent Venom, Archangel, and Andy.
Also, I'm looking over again, untapped stats, which take with a grain of salt that you will. I think she's doing well enough that I think B is actually probably going to be a fair point.
I think prior to
looking at C-tar,
prior to this season, Black Swan was just a feels bad, even with Techno from, Techno came out last season. Like even with that, but like having the enablers and where the meta's at, and even though Gambit Horseman of Death is everywhere, what she can do, I think I'm okay with the B.
Huh. All right, Brucey.
Is Bruce D tier?
He's better than that. I think he's C though.
You could sell me on C or D here. I think the card's not great still.
It's 214 in its decks. It can be. It's inconsistent.
It can be a 214.
I would say over half of the time it's a 214 in its deck.
Is it still slotted in the normal 12 for that deck?
For end of turn, right?
Well, end of turn isn't a deck after the Invisible Woman first steps nerfs. I was more talking about High Evo.
Sure.
Which I think with Polaris is more of a deck than people are letting on. But you can convince me on D.
I think just because I get the Polaris idea, I get like it using better usage in High Evo, and I get like the end of turn stuff, but it's like I feel like I'm still not slotting that in like that 12 cards opposed to doing something else, which is why I would be saying more so D. It's not an F tier card by any means. I don't think it's like F, but I think it's probably at the moment more so a D tier card than what it was at like a C tier with Old Invisible Woman, because I feel like you maybe were running it more so in that. And of course, the Starlight changes have affected a bunch of, some of the trickle down in those style decks too. So like, I think it's better than Bucky for sure. But I don't know if it's necessarily.
You know what? That's fair. I think that's a great way to put it. It's better than Bucky, right? If I'm looking at the cards in D, I don't think it's comparable to. Do y'all believe that there's a bug with Bruce where like he doesn't trigger enough times? Like I've heard people say that even if you have multiple things queued up, it is still it's fixed. Okay,
so
then that's
what used to happen, I'm pretty sure, is if you fast forwarded, if the end of turn procs would fast forward, Bruce would never.
They never did. They
And
never did for me.
They fixed that.
I never
bug.
had the fast forward happen.
Okay.
I went through so many games closing it and just reopening it because I didn't want to deal with it because it took for. Anyway,
well,
sorry.
That's fixed. I will have this as the legitimate, like we were talking about Archangel being the fringe C tier. I think 214, you can't scoff at that. So I think this is like the pinnacle of the bottomest line of C tier that you can have. I think is like Bruce Banner, just because it is better than Bucky. And Bucky is our baseline, like we were talking about for the tier list. We have these cards in here for our baseline to be able to kind of understand why we're placing cards where they are. I think Bruce can fit above Bucky.
That's fair.
Cable.
You said A earlier. I don't hate that. Spending more time on it.
Yeah,
this is good. This is a good card.
I think Carnage, and honestly, we've got Chamber there as well. I think we got 2 more A slots, just straight up.
I gotta agree with you, Dance. Yep. Carnage is a good card. Chamber is a good card. Chamber used to be S, but then they nerfed him too much, and now I'm sad because I love Chamber. Yeah. It's so cool.
Okay. Smlz, I'd love to hear your take on Cloak.
I hate move, but also Hellion is just better than this card. 2-sided versus 1-sided move is usually a massive difference. I would put Cloak in D tier. I think he's pretty bad.
Yeah, you know what? He's not even getting played in move decks anymore. Honestly, a fair shout.
Well,
if they did a 2/5 to Cloak, I think I'd agree with it. As much as I'm like, I don't think it was even getting played much when it got to 2/4 or whatever. It's stopped being in play for a bit. Once I think you mentioned it, Hellion. I think Hellion really just took it out. Also, Madam Web.
yeah, just better
those
move.
two really did a lot.
Better move just came out, and that's like literally what took Cloak away. Cloak's okay, fringe. Like I'm a lower CL player potentially, but even then, it's like you're also at your like what's like Smlz is saying too. Like you're putting yourself potentially at a disadvantage too. Is like I'm moving my cards, yes, because I want to do that, but like my opponents can also move their cards. I have to account for their power if they move it. Like it kind of is like
I love New York.
Yeah, literally like cooked.
It's New York on demand.
Yeah.
I love it. All right, Cobra. This is a meme card.
D tier because he has use on select hot locations. So it's better than the F tier cards, but he's not good.
Yeah, he's not like the worst thing ever.
I think Colleen Wing's the high end of B tier.
I think this card is unplayable. I'd put it in C.
Yeah, I think like
I disagree.
What are you playing with Colleen at the moment, or like what are you seeing played with Colleen at the moment?
I mean, for one, even though it's not as much, you can still classic discard has been and still is a real deck, even if it's not like fancy and it doesn't have a bunch of new stuff. That's still fine. It also still gets played inside of the Dakin combo deck. Doesn't get played inside of that Moon Girl one, but
wait, which Dakin combo deck is running
which
Colleen?
Dakin deck? And which classic discard deck is also running Colleen? Yeah. Like I don't think he's ran in either of those.
No. The ones that people are selling for in the Steam bundles.
Oh, okay. So it's B for bundle. I take it.
Colleen's being run in the Khonshu bundles. Like they're running the Khonshu synergy with Colleen. I don't think so.
I thought that was Lady Sif and Moon Knight.
Yeah, it's Lady Sif and Moon Knight.
Is it Moon Knight?
Yeah.
Wait, no, I could have sworn it was Colleen Wing and Corvus Glaive.
No, it's Moon Knight and.
Oh, so I know nothing.
Sif.
Okay, y'all just put these cards wherever you want to. My bad.
I think Colleen's a D tier card.
Yeah, like
2/3 is really bad for a card with a clear downside. She should get her point back, and honestly, probably another one at that. She should probably be a 2/5 at this point.
And like people are not playing the Swarm Bullseye anymore. And like when Swarm Bullseye was a thing, Colleen was more so a thing. And like that's not at all like where the meta's at and any grand scope of things. Like the old Collector Bullseye style stuff, like that's when Colleen, we were like, okay, can be more so B tier, but like you're just not seeing this card at all. Like
Smlz, did you say B or C or D?
D. I think this card is awful.
Okay.
Yeah, I want to check that. All right, well, Colossus is F, right?
Agree. Yeah. Card sucks. Doesn't even get run in C4. That's how you know it's bad.
There you go. And Dagger... Is she D as well for Dagger?
Move is pretty bad.
Right? It's not. She's not great. I keep pulling up untapped stats over here as we're talking about them, and I think she's one of the weaker cards in a lot of those decks. Like you can still do some things with, just a generic move package, but it's. I actually think it's closer to C. I think she's closer to C, even if move isn't being played as much. I don't think she's a bad card in that deck. I think she's still very good. I think there's a lot of other move cards we could look at, like Cloak and other 2 costs that are a lot worse. I think. Or actually, I'm thinking of 1 costs as well. I don't know, low cost cards. I think Dagger's more of a C than a D. Even if the deck as a whole falls closer into the D tier, I think there's also some F tier move cards as well that are like kind of balancing all that stuff in there.
I agree with Dance. I think it's a C tier card. I think it needs to be much better and I think move in general needs to be better if the card wants to move back up. But yeah, I think Dagger could probably get a point of power back, like a 2/3, but also I don't want to buff move cards because
I don't think you need to put it on her. I'd rather put it onto the other, like the enablers, like they've done a couple of times. Where like I'm not saying that Topaz is good, but they put points on Topaz, so stuff like that. I'd rather them do more things like that in comparison.
Yeah, I think if we're gonna have Bruce Banner in C tier, should have Dagger in C tier.
Yeah,
as like the baseline kind of stuff there. Like she's much better than Bucky Barnes, and like she scales potentially more than a lot of these like potential other cards too. What about classic Daredevil, the 2/3 OG?
D tier probably.
Was that D as in Daredevil?
Yeah, D as in Daredevil.
Okay.
I mean, like this guy, he doesn't see play. He's not in Supergiant anymore. The only real use case I can think for him is you play him to see what lane you can Galactus / Professor X. Like that's it. Like that's the only.
I've sent Smlz my
deck.
bad deck that I've been playing that actually has him in there for that exact logic. It's a bad deck. It's a bad card. It's fine in D tier.
And I think also with that logic too, it's like with the Professor X decks that are better right now, you're just moving cards yourself into Professor X lanes, and in those Galactus decks, you're just fastball specialing cards to be able to Galactus that lane instead of just having, you know, Daredevil for stuff. So like I think that the D argument is fair there. What about Dazzler?
Gambit Horseman, that's his card.
Oh god, yeah, Gambit throws everything off.
I'll
be honest, I actually
this card
think
is F tier. Like right now, she's unplayable.
I think she's one of Gambit Horseman Death is an entirely fair point. I think she is still one of the best early game ongoing cards. She's not even early game. She's Series 3. She's a 2/8 ongoing.
Goliath is better.
I mean, yeah, but that's for an ongoing deck, right? But
yeah,
I'm talking about like the
deck.
I'm talking about like the decks like that you would be playing earlier on that you're even trying to use with like if I talk about those decks that are doing Patriot, Kazar, Blue Marvel, like Ultron stuff, I think every single one of those cards that I've just mentioned that are all like key pieces of the deck are worse than Dazzler in that deck, which I feel like she's a D. I think she goes in worse decks.
I think she can be in
but I think it's the same logic as Dagger.
I think she's D. I don't think she's F. Like she's not like I need this card to be reworked. Like it's like that's kind of like
there's a lot of those cards I think in the D tier where it's like I don't know if these cards are actually. Here's my take. I don't know if these cards are bad. Some of them I think are still ours. We've already said, but some of these cards I feel like, and also in C tier, are like they need better reasons to work. Like they need something better to work with them. And similar to like Scarlet Spider, if and whenever we do a 4-cost tier list, right? That would be a lot lower of a card if we were just talking Scarlet Spider before Shu Lao. But once you get more enablers, more things that work with it, it becomes a better card by comparison, and you don't need to buff that card on its own to do it.
Yeah, I think that's fair. Now, what about Doctor Strange, the 2/4 move guy?
D for Doc. I think it's just like a bad card still. It's just you're not really like moving. There's a reason why I only saw play and move bounce, and move bounce is just a bad deck. Like in normal move, they never played this guy because you want to be moving multiple cards at the same time, either to get your Hydra Stomper triggering or to be able to like move like an 8-power Hellion, a 10-power Heimdall, all that stuff in like one lane, so that you could like win one lane with your like big points cards and then the other lane with the giant Human Torch. This card is just it's just limited by how good the best big move scaler is, and the fact that Torch is the best move scaler and he's like a C tier card, it does not bode well for Doctor Strange. I can see C tier, but right now I'd go with D for the Doc.
I'm between both, so I'll be fine with whatever y'all decide here. I just went back to his original release. He was a 3/2 on release, and I just wanted to mention that.
So like I totally agree like with the move bounce kind of stuff, and like I do think this is another card that if we're not even talking about the move bounce deck that is impacted by also Gambit Horseman of Death, is that this is a really cool enabler for multiple man style decks, being able to spread that power kind of across the board. But multiple man also the cards that are
that actually makes me feel like it's C.
Like there's some niche kind of decks that I like it with, but like I would probably have Strange itself probably more so of a D tier. We'll talk about multiple man when we get to multiple man because I have better arguments for that.
That's actually a great point.
So I think Strange himself is probably more so in that D tier, opposed to.
I actually love that logic
cards.
because of I forgot that it could hit multiple cards because of like Phoenix Force and such. Right. That's actually I think the best. That's such a good point. I love that.
Domino.
F.
You say F?
Yeah, card's awful.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, are we out of? We're against this card?
Oh yeah, this card is awful. It is amazing to me how so many people decided that Wiccan was best when it ran 2 brick draws. The 2 costs on this game are good. Like, Quicksilver is a higher tier card because 1 costs, 1, it's harder to get a 1 cost on 1 than a 2 cost on 2, and 2, 1 cost overall are actually kind of bad. I think we're going to have a pretty full S tier. 2 costs in general are very good cards. We already have 5 cards in the A tier, and
yeah,
we're like barely through this. Like, taking up a draw is just bad. Like, Cable is better than this in literally every deck. And you can also run cards like even Sam Wilson, like generically, he's pretty damn good. You get a card like Iron Patriot, that's a great card. It costs 2 and you can play it early. We're getting the cards like Shadowlands Daredevil, that costs 2. You can play it early in some scenarios, although that one has a little bit more of a drawback. Kate Bishop, you can play early. There's just, I can go on and on. Gorgon's good too. You just playing a bricked draw is really bad, and it's not even doing anything for you that actually has an upside at 2 costs. Quicksilver makes more sense because 1 costs are bad, 2 costs are good. Domino's an F tier card, she shouldn't be played.
I do not agree in the slightest. And I love that. Because I'm not going to pretend like the decks are going to be absolutely top, like fantastic every single time, but there are legitimate competitive, not saying best top, but at least competitive decks, right? Like with En Salvanor that are still trying to use her because you can fill up slots early without having to worry about your stuff getting filled up. Wiccan needs as much as I think there is a question of whether or not it's actually good. Wiccan is another deck that does legitimately like it. I feel like she's better. I don't know. I could not put her in an F tier. If I was going to argue like A, and you're saying F, and I love that. So
I hadn't thought about it under the same lens that like Smlz is talking about here, but we have the past couple seasons kind of walked, if not ran away from Wiccan style decks because Star-Lord Master of the Sun existed. And because of that, it might be that we are in a different scope of the game. Like Smlz is talking, we have all these different 2 costs that are just going to give us better value right now in general to be able to hit those Wiccan style decks, because maybe we are going back to playing some more Wiccan style things. And with that kind of like mindset, of course, like yes, Domino would make it so yeah, I'm going to be able to hit my Wiccan, I can play all these 3 cost cards. But as we are, which is why we wanted to do a 2 cost kind of tier list, by the way, is because the way 2 cost cards are overall, there's like so many different new ways to like talk about this. But like with that in mind, I feel like we might be in a place again where we're restructuring the way we play Wiccan again. Because we, of course, when Wiccan first came out, it was, oh yeah, we're playing Domino, we're playing Quicksilver, because we want to hit Wiccan, the West Coast Avenger season's here, Young Avengers is here, I don't know what else we're going to do, this is going to guarantee, we hit Wiccan. And we had Kate Bishop, we had cards like that. And then it was like, no, that's actually bad. And, we, for months, we're like, no, Quicksilver Domino is bad, do not play those in Wiccan, play other stuff. And then more months came by, and then we jumped back to it. And I think we are potentially back in that spot again, where it is like I don't play Wiccan, so like my take here is going to be a bit different. And I know also like for Affliction style decks, potentially you run Domino to get some of your big costed cards because it gives you a percentage chance better to be able to get big costed cards because your turn 2 draw is a Domino instead, and the big cost cards are more likely to be drawn, kind of thing. So I honestly had not taken into perspective that at all. So hearing, Smlz's take on that kind of is helping me kind of mitigate kind of what's going on here. I don't think Domino's A tier by any means. Like that definitely, I was not going to put her at A tier at all. I get it for that Wiccan stuff, but there's so many other ways to get better benefits than like Smlz is saying, like, this is a card. Okay, I draw it on 2. My entire objective is, or not maybe is objective, but like my entire purpose is to draw this on 2 opposed to having cards that have abilities to do things. So I don't think I would have it necessarily in F tier, but I wouldn't have it in A tier. I might have it more so in that like D tier slot, but I don't think I have it much higher. Like I don't think this card is like horrible. I think what it promotes might be more so horrible. Like it promotes me to think I have to build my deck around this, and that's potentially bad for potential deck building kind of thought process in the future. Maybe like that's kind of maybe the idea. Like maybe in that kind of scope of just the mental effect this card might have, maybe in that sense. But I don't think this card is like a Baron Mordo or like an Angela or like a Colossus per se. I think this card is maybe more so just in that D tier kind of slot where it's like, well, maybe I just want to do 3-cost things, even though I should be focusing on actually doing, I can play 2-cost cards, actually can do stuff.
I mean, I think it's worse than every card in the F tier right now. It's just, I think, an awful card.
That's wild. Domino's worse than Baron Mordo.
Yes, I'd rather play Baron Mordo in the deck than I would play Domino. Yes. I also think the end stop and stuff. Why are we playing Domino? Why aren't we playing Iron Patriot? Why aren't we playing Ascani Sun? We played Debris in that deck. That's a really good follow. We're playing high cost stat sticks in that deck. I have no idea why we're not playing IP Ascani Sun and trying to take advantage of that. I have no idea why
you're not guaranteed to get the card.
Punisher War Machine in that to get ahead of it. We don't need to get a 2-on-2. We can also make it so that it's highly likely that we can get a 2-on-2 and we don't wreck our future draws. Wiccan, I guess, is the only argument for this. But even then, I'm going to give like a spoiler alert on what I think of 4-cost. I think Wiccan's also an F-tier card. I think that card is garbage. It promotes you to lose draws in the early game, and you're not even getting enough points late game. Look at Punisher War Machine, who we just talked about. That card gives you as much energy as Wiccan, and it also doesn't require you run 2 brick draws. Like, Punisher War Machine as well is another reason to not run Domino, because if you get that on 2, you can already accelerate your game plan further. I think this is one of the worst cards in the entire game, and I think the community has been tricked, bamboozled. They've been scalped into thinking that this card is good. It's unplayable. It's always been unplayable. It's always been trash, and
maybe
my opinion has not changed. My opinion has not changed on Domino.
All right, I think Smlz feels so adamantly. I think we can leave it D if that's chill. I think I do not have the same vitriol and hatred that Smlz does. I refuse F. I will say no. I disagree wholeheartedly on F.
We can put it in D, but let it be known. Don't be shocked if in 2 months everyone thinks Domino's an F tier card again, because we get more 2 costs that really want you to draw them on 2. And Domino stops that, and those 2 costs are really good cards with good upside, and Domino is do nothing 2-4.
Which was really funny also about Domino is Domino was a 2-3, and then Domino became a turn 4, or not turn 4, a 2-4, and that's like also when the resurgence of Domino happened again. So like that is also something to note, is when Domino fell out of those Wiccan decks is when Domino was a 2-3, and then it was like, oh, it's a 2-4 stat line, So like that is something to note there. So like I'm seeing your point more and more, like Smlz. I personally don't play a lot of Wiccan. I don't play necessarily a lot of Domino. So this is just kind of like what I've seen from like other decks and stuff. But you are heard. Like you are definitely heard here. And since I do have the final note here, I think we are going to put Domino into F tier. So next we are moving on to Elixir. Which...
If you do not put this card in F tier, you're a liar.
Yeah, this card sucks.
You just put, no. You just put Domino in F tier. Domino is better than Elixir. You put that belongs in F tier. And I understand that you love your Monsters Reborn deck. I refuse. These next 2 cards, as Elixir and Ezekiel Sims, both belong in F. This is a halfway revenge F, and halfway this card sucks F.
Zeke can go in D. Zeke is useless.
Zeke can go in D.
Yeah, Zeke and Superior Spider-Man is like legit in some of those decks, and it's a good way to get prof out on 4 if you need to. I think Zeke is D. I agree with Elixir's F. Elixir's awful.
Okay,
yeah, cool. Elixir's terrible.
Why is Elixir awful? I just need you guys to sell me on this, because you guys know I'm complete opposite side. Like, it's not anywhere near like A or B, like S over there. Like, not even C. I would probably still argue D, but I want to hear why Elixir is F.
Because because he's a 2-3, and the revive deck is not necessarily that good. If I want to play a reviver, I'd much rather play Adamantium Infusion, because it just doubling that power is really, really strong. And also the last turn restriction is kind of important on Elixir. Yeah. As well as if you're destroying more cards, Archangel's just better because it's going to give you a 2-9 every time. Elixir can be a 2-3 in a lot of cases. And also with Archangel, you can run like good cards that destroy cards by accident, like Luna Snow. as opposed to Elixir, who you have to like be very, very adamant and strict with your destroys. And even something such as like your opponent plays a Luna Snow and you lose the Ice Cube that turn, your entire game plan is just like completely crumbled.
And also, even the developers were talking about it recently inside of the Team Answers area, where they said that the card needs the card. Sorry, as a corporate speak, the card has room for upward adjustments. So, however you want to take that.
Well, if they want to look at this tier list and also give Elixir buffs, we can put Elixir in F tier, and I'm here for it.
There you go. We'll send this over to second dinner.
I personally like Elixir because, like, in the niche style decks, I play my decks in such a way to get the value from Elixir. But in the grand scope of everything, the card definitely does not hold a candle to the other revival cards. Like, I totally agree there. Totally agree. Now Zeke first appears Spider-Man for that. I don't know about Zeke being in the D tier for that kind of scenario. Like, of course, yeah, Zeke can get scale in other ways, throughout the course of the game per se. But it's like, if I'm playing like that style of move or whatever, I'm probably just not playing Zeke.
I mean, if you want to put him in F tier, it's fine. Okay. Sam just completely destroys him.
Yeah.
You know what? Okay. These last three cards, at least one of us were each disagreeing with, and I'm fine with that. I feel better about all three of these now, as we all are unhappy about one of those three cards. Falcon's is Falcon B? Or is he higher?
I agree with B. He's a play. You can certainly play him. He's got his decks, but he isn't like a bounce staple in the same way that Beast and Toxin are.
So Tucker, when you said S tier, I was happy between Fastball Special as either S or A straight up. I think Fastball Specials, Smlz, I think we talked about this when you were on my channel, where I said I think that Fastball Special is the perfect skill in the game. I think it's one of the best skills in the game straight up. I really like it. I kind of agree with S, and if you said A, I'd agree with it.
Yeah, we were talking, I believe, 2 days ago about like what the best skill is. I said Techno. You said Fastball.
Oh yes, I did. So you said Techno. That was correct. Yeah.
I think Techno's an S tier card, and I think Fastball's an A tier card. I think the thing that holds Fastball back, because at the end of the day, it's still playing for 2-0, even though it has all these different synergy pieces and stuff like that. It's still not necessarily playing for the maximum amount of points itself. And although, yes, it can mitigate downside, yes, I played this card in my combo decks. It's a really impactful power tool and stuff like that. I also think that it, like, having Affliction into a buff meta is particularly impactful. But also, I mean, the only thing that it's, like, invalidating the weakness of and the vulnerability is Shang. Shadow King in that lane still destroys this card. I just think it's a little bit... I view it very similar to Venom in a sense where, like, this is one of the best destroy paths. It's retaining all the power of your destroyed card or / destroyed lane. They're both A tier cards for me. They're both good at what they do, but I wouldn't necessarily put it into the top, although I could be convinced with S.
I just think that the payoff, like, whether it, like, we were talking about like revive cards, like, if you could have done like Fastball into Elixir same turn, that would have been like amazing. But like, you have Fastball into Adamantium Fusion, you have Fastball into Phoenix Force. Like, of course, that's setting up, target into targeted revive, but like also being able to just disable potential combo decks. Like, okay, well, I know like they're playing like Tribunal. Like, of course, Tribunal we're not seeing a lot of right now, but like, I'm destroying a card right now because I know that's the big lane they're going to be doing things in and reviving into another lane. And I think while it being a targeted destroy and a targeted affliction, I think is what really helps this. I'm not by any means going to be putting like Fastball and Firehair in the same category, because they're not by any means like equivalent when we're looking at the 2 cost and what it kind of can do kind of thing. Of course, Firehair is, with its on reveals and stuff, and it's the next card on screen, which is why, I'm talking about Firehair as is there. But I think as a 2 cost for what it does, opposed to, Carnage is a 2 cost that destroys the entire board. You do not maintain that power of necessarily the cards destroyed on the board. Whereas Fastball, you're destroying a targeted card, while also maintaining that destroy by afflicting it to your opponent's side of the board is why I have Fastball a bit higher, because into some of these combo style decks and what it kind of enables for whether it is revival or just being able to offset what your opponents are trying to do. Like, I can Fastball one lane and just focus on another one because, Shang-Chi might be coming down. While I'm not seeing as much Shadow King at the moment, is another kind of thing, which is why I have fastball higher. I can see the argument as we do progress towards the other 2 costs that we have in the game, that fastball doesn't necessarily hold a candle to those. But I would say I have fastball in the top part of A, better than Lizard, better than Niscani, better than Cable, Chamber, and Carnage. Like, I would have fastball in like the top of A, just looking at the other S tier cards, like, you know, as we've talked about it more.
I think that's fair. I don't have any issue there.
So Firehair, as much as I love Firehair, I think Firehair is a C tier card.
Great. It's just kind of the definition.
You're just being accurate. Okay. No, no. I love the card. I actually think it's a super cool card. I don't love it as much as you, but yeah, that's actually exactly. No, that's a perfect representation. I was going to say that y'all probably say that Goliath should be A tier. And I think if you said that, I'd agree. But I also think that you could make an argument for B. The only problem, I think, is he's better than the cards that we currently have in B tier. But I also... Yeah, he is probably just a B in the end.
I think he's A. He's just good. He's just the guy in ongoing. He's just like a 2-9. He's just like a 2-9. Like, I see him. I think he's better than Lizard.
Well, he's the second guy. You've got Sam Wilson. I think Sam Wilson is the guy.
Sam Wilson is...
You know, he's the second guy.
Specifically, Goliath still might be the guy.
Yeah.
But he needs a Sam Wilson.
I would run an ongoing deck without Sam Wilson before I ran one without Goliath.
I'll give a take. If Sam Wilson didn't exist, I think Goliath would be B. But I'm saying A. But I don't know. But I don't know if that's...
We have so many ongoing cards now that we don't necessarily need to have them as handcuffs to each other. And I think if we just look at scaling, like the way we have Chamber, like the way Chamber gets to 2-9, like Goliath can get to that pretty easily as well.
Yeah,
it's fair.
What about
issues here?
Forge?
D. He's playable in Galacti sometimes. He's playable in Galacti sometimes, and that's it. In my opinion.
You can't cope him in Surfer. I feel like you can cope.
No.
I feel like you could cope it. I think you could see for cope.
Storm Horseman of Famine is a card now. You want to be skipping that turn too.
That's...
You also have another card coming up that you're running instead of Forge in that slot.
Yeah.
True. Yeah.
This guy, you could argue F to be honest, but Galacti, I think Galacti does Galacti the card. He is used in that, so I think he can be D.
I think both Goose and Gorgon belong in F.
I think Goose is C tier and Gorgon is also
Goose is not better than Forge.
Yes, I think Goose is better than Forge because I think it's okay. This is gonna. I don't know how much we want to factor tournaments into this. As a tournament card, Goose is one of the best tournament risers because you can use it in 2 different ways for lowball decks. I know this is how I used it in the most recent Golden Gauntlet. I think that it's good because first of all, you can use it to like Cosmic Ghost Rider is a card. You can't play Cosmic Ghost Rider in a Goose lane. If you're against a Cosmic Ghost Rider, you can put your cards like your Invisible Woman First Steps, your Jocasta, all that stuff behind a Goose so that it cannot, they cannot tack it. Also, if you know they're not running that, you can win that lane with significantly less points because your opponent can't play anything that costs more than 4 there. And if you're just running a low curve deck, that's not even a problem for you. Like I think Goose is a tournament riser. Though if we're taking this in like a ladder / normal game context without factoring in tournaments, I think Goose is a D tier card. But I think that slight bump up puts it into the C tier. And I think Gorgon is just like, you can argue Gorgon in D. To be honest, that's where I'm leaning as well.
If we were talking more tournament style, I think I'm with you for Goose being C, but I think we're talking like more so like current not tournaments kind of scheme, where I don't think Goose is F. But I think like I like what you're talking about here, like for the utility and like you're being able to protect your combo pieces. Like I can totally see the Goose being higher in that sense. I think Goose is better than most of these cards in the D tier, but I don't know if I can put it on the same scope necessarily. Like there's so many cards I feel like we've even talked about now that if there was an in between, like it would fit in that in between of like C and D per se, because like I don't put like Goose on the same scale still as like a Firehair, but like maybe I put it on the same scale as like a Bruce Banner, or I would put it on the same scale as like an Archangel or like a Dagger and stuff. So like I can see kind of where the line kind of grays in a sense. So like Dance, I'm gonna give you the say so of we're not putting Goose in F. Like that's just not happening. But
I think you could put both of them in D, and I think that's a fair argument, actually.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fair.
I think both of them D is probably better.
Grandmaster.
S.
I actually would agree at S, 100%.
I was talking about Grandmaster before I came on here today because I was thinking like, oh, we're doing 2-cost tier list. I should probably start prepping. And then I looked at my old 2-cost tier list and I saw Grandmaster and A, and I'm like, he was good then. He's proven it now. He's very good at a 2-3. This is one of the best 2-costs in the entire game.
Double Mother Ascani, double Dawkins, which isn't, I mean, maybe not the same as a Mother Ascani, but still, like, yeah, I'm here for it. Double on reveal seems pretty good. Double, it's not copy, but double into,
and which honestly I think that's a better thing about it sometimes. I love it. Havoc, is it D or C?
D. It's speaking something with the best performing Havoc deck I've seen in the last 10 days was throwing this card in Hella for whatever reason. This card is bad. Went 10-1. Havoc is bad. He end of turn is a Havoc should get his old stats back. He should be a 2-0
I think
that gets +4.
I'd agree with that. Actually, you know what? 100%. I think that's the best logic because I think is still taking a downfall for what's her face for Invisible Woman First Steps. That is not deserved. Kate Bishop is this. I feel like she's B. You could argue A. I feel like B or A.
I think it's C is crazy.
C. Oh, I thought you were gonna argue S. I would have like listened to that argument.
I don't know.
No,
She's not S. She's not S.
She's not an S tier card. It's tricky, you know, because I have not seen Kate Bishop get much play anymore.
But I don't even know that she's bad.
Yeah, I'm think because when Xiao was meta, Kate was in so many decks. Kate was arguably S tier then. I think I'm fine with rounding out Kate as an A tier card because in the metas where you're playing a lot of cards and like board placement matters and stuff like that, so Acid Arrow is even better, and you kind of want those extra cards to play. I think Kate's an A bordering S tier card. When we're in metas like now, where that necessarily doesn't really matter as such, we're in a pretty heavy combo meta, then it starts going to A to B tier. I think overall, though, I'd put her in that like A tier. Like I think she's around the same level as a card like Cable, a card like Lizard.
I think I'll take actually as much as I really like this card, I feel like this actually probably is a B because of again the meta that we are currently in. Because even if we're talking about some of these other cards, I think a lot of stuff shifts depending on where we are in the meta. And I think in this current meta, I think she's a B. We talk about her, you know, it could be a month, could be a bit longer, could be less time. I think she goes up or down, like stuff like that. But I do think currently she's B.
If we're talking about current meta,
I feel like that's how we've done a lot of this stuff.
I guess that's why Lizard's an A as well. Yeah. It feels so wrong to put her in B though.
Right? No, like I agree. I think she's a great card, but she's just like not seeing a lot of play, and that's not any. Again, that's nothing against her power level. Nothing against who she like. What her card does. It's chill. It's just like where she is right now, where the power is. Yeah, she's a B.
Yeah. What about Herbie?
D.
He's fine. He's better than I'd play a Herbie before I play
put him in
card
B?
tier. No, C.
Oh, C. Okay, sure, yeah.
Yeah, he's better than. I'd rather play Herbie than other cards in D tier, but there's nothing. He's the definition of mid. is how I put it. He's also worse than Awesome Andy. I will say.
He's fine. I honestly think he is just a fine. Like, this is one where if you told me that second buff this card, I don't even know if I'd agree that they should. It just is like, this is just fine. I don't think it needs to be a crazy card. It's just like here's what it is. Here's what it is. That's it.
About Hulkbuster.
Is it getting played inside of those merge with Manspider decks, even if Manspider isn't getting played as much?
If
It
it's not,
should, but it's not.
if it's not
should.
Galactus version,
If it's not, then I'd say it's D.
I think it's D, but people should be playing it. I may have to come back to Manspider and tell everybody why Hulkbuster's better.
when I was playing
but-
Hulkbuster I was playing him in Manspider and the card was doing well. Like the extra merge proc is just really good to be able to set up for later turns.
But I think it's the exact same stuff with Kate.
But yeah, no. But in general, like if it's not, that deck is like, it's also good with multiple man. But
True.
We'll have it here.
Yeah.
What about classic Invisible Woman?
Is it weird, by the way, I'm going to say this as we talk to D tier? I don't even think a lot of these cards, like, I don't know how many of these cards actually need to get changed in the D tier. As I'm looking at them, like, even if they are slightly bad, they still have some homes. I think some of them do need, like, actual points, and they need more. Where I look at, like, Cloak and potentially, I think, again, Havoc we talked about. But looking at Hulkbuster, I don't think Hulkbuster needs a change. It's just, like, it's not played much, and that's just where it is.
No, you cannot give Hulkbuster more power. Like you can't.
Exactly. Agreed.
You can't do that. Like, and it used to be a 3/5. You remember that? Like Hulkbuster was like, it's still.
But does that make sense? Like why I was saying that bit? Because I basically just am trying to defend this bit because I feel like you could argue no that like a lot of this stuff should be higher or should be lower because we're saying this stuff. But even if I'm saying that some of these cards in D tier are like bad, I think it's also like a metagame perspective on that.
Yeah. So with Invisible Woman, then do you have Invisible Woman as a C tier card or a D tier card? Or are you playing are you playing like the Dark Razor like Sarah Tech deck and you're using Invisible Woman for like a late game Killmonger, Shadow King, and
I'm gonna let Smlz I think lead it because I honestly I don't have any read on her.
The Cougar C4 deck is one that I actually think is a good one at running Invisible Woman in. It's using it to like basically say, hey, actually, I'm hiding my Cerebro, so you can't interact with it. And nothing's really turning off Invisible Woman. Nobody's running Echo anymore. I think that this is a C tier card. It has its uses. It is better than the D tier cards, but I would not call it a B tier card. The cards in B tier all look much better to me.
Yeah, that works for me. I was leaning more C. I was just like, is it, because you can hide a Killmonger potentially, but like that's not into every single deck do you need to run Killmonger, but like it definitely into some of the Daredevil Shadowland stuff can give you value, but you have so much other big cards that you're playing that you're not going to just potentially get Killmonger. What about Iron Patriot?
S, no question. It's better Ascani-san.
I like it. It's a good card. I got no issues with it.
I don't think I need to explain why, but
Jeffrey.
I think Jeff's better when he got to his 4th point, but again, I feel like this is a C. It's like I'm not gonna say he's good.
Yeah, this goes in C4. It's fine. It's a good card. Or not.
You put it into locations that you can't typically.
Yeah, I think Kale also fits C tier. It's a mid card. It does its role. It's not a good card. It does its role.
Joaquin, done. I'm gonna say the same thing. Actually,
Joaquin is a bit better, I think.
You think Joaquin's better? I thought I would have heard you say it's different. It's worse.
I think Joaquin is a B tier card.
The utility.
Doc, where are you at with Joaquin?
The utility that Joaquin can like add to some of those bounce style decks, or even like just, I guess, Clea things, but like also like Majestic Wing Beat. Like there's a lot of just really good skills that work well also on Joaquin, and I think that's what really like boosts Joaquin's value up. So I'm here for it in B tier, just comparatively, especially to like the C tier cards we have. What about Juggernaut, Horseman of War?
I like this card. It's F.
I'm fine with F too. F is fine. D and F.
I
Same
like
thing.
the card.
I
I like this card. It's so much fun. I think it's an F tier card.
Yeah.
It sucks. It's not good.
What about Kid Omega?
It's not a 2/9 as Archangel is.
It's only and also Archangel is doing things that are also in accordance to your game plan. Jug is the game plan, and he has less of a payoff.
That's true.
He is one that should be a 2/3 probably.
He should.
He also-
should be a 2/3
Can
that
we
gets
just-
+7.
Can we skip a second and just grab Mojo and put him next to him? Hot take, just because I feel like they are the exact same. I think that also Juggernaut should be an ongoing or an on reveal in that way.
Terrence wants to skip like
Because I think
20 cards.
I know. I just was thinking about it. I could just say it now. We'll move and we'll get
They are
there.
the
When we get there.
same. They are the same.
But they are just the same in terms of strength. I don't know. Whenever I look at Juggernaut, I always think of Mojo in comparison because they're both 2/8s.
Kid Omega.
B.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. I think Craven is also in B.
Sure.
Because even if move isn't great, I think it's still
He's good.
there's a lot of move packages that could still use him, and he is still just a good card. So we're gonna get to this is a bit speculative. We have Lady Bullseye.
Is Lady Bullseye like D or F?
I think it's got to be D.
I'd agree with D. Well, this is speculative.
D
We'll talk
didn't
to
get
her.
a chance to play it.
Yeah. What about Lasher?
F.
I'd actually say it's D.
We're splitting hairs here. Cards
Yeah.
Card sucks.
But if you
Let's
but
be
if I'm putting
honest.
it,
I'd rather
I'm putting
play
it in
Juggernaut
comparison-
than Lasher. I'll be honest.
the Lasher, but I can play the bad deck with Karen Page and Nomura with Lasher. I can't do it with Juggernaut. Tell me a Juggernaut deck, and I can tell you a Lasher deck. Tell me a Juggernaut deck.
Zoo.
It's
Oh,
being
wait,
on Zoo,
wait,
I'm pulling.
I mean, you could do
Did you see
C2.
Lasher deck? I mean, like you could do C2 with Lasher, but it's
Yeah.
just like it's bad.
C2 is also unfortunate.
We can put it in D.
The old
But-
Horseman of War deck that
Jeez.
before Mother Ascani, but like still,
Mhm.
like no.
I do think it's better than. I think it's better than Juggernaut. I think it's honestly, if I'm looking at comparisons to stuff, I think Lasher is pretty much just on comparison with the Forge. I think that's a good, I don't know, strength level.
I don't think they're really too. I mean, I guess afflicting too, but like you also have to be on the board for a turn before that happens. So I don't think they're necessarily too comparable. But what about Lindley Iron Fist?
B.
Yeah, I agree with that.
He's fine. He's solid.
Lockheed.
D.
Yeah, I'd
He's
agree with the
awful.
D here too.
He's bad.
Lockjaw.
C. Yes, its uses in C3, but other than that, it's
Yeah,
not, but
I don't have
it
any
does
strong
have a
feelings
use.
on this.
Madam Web.
A would be S, but move scalers have gotten quite bad. But Madam Web is still a good card.
Magus.
D. This card is not very good.
You don't think F? You think just D?
I think you can cope mages in certain decks that you can't cope after your cards in.
I'd agree with that statement.
I think there might be one F tier card you could cope some stuff in more than Magus, but
Oh, sorry. We have Elixir there. I also would agree that you think you can cope some stuff with Domino. Is that what you want to hear?
yeah. So I mean, I probably would.
You can
Okay.
cope Ezekiel. Okay, sure. Sure.
You know what? Actually, I don't hate that either. As long as you weren't trying to move it upwards, that's
As long
fine.
as it's not C tier, I'm fine.
All right, here's my take. This is S. Marrow is an S tier card. That's my take here.
I think it's A. I think it's really good, but it's just A. It's just what is putting it on the
This
same
is a
level of Sam
You
IP
tell me
Grandmaster.
210. It's a 210.
It's not. Well, I mean,
it's
you
a
still
2-7.
like you still have
But
to
not if
either
you're
discard it.
Venom.
You have to count like you're also potentially discarding it. You have to count you're also having to destroy it. Like
It's a
accounting that
conditional
energy as well.
210 with Venom.
Be a 5/10
With Venom specifically. Okay.
Yeah, okay, but also Archangel you said was a 2-9 and it went to C.
So
And that required a lot.
So is Sam Wilson a conditional? What does he get up to? He gets up to 5 and then 7. Is Sam Wilson a conditional?
I'd say 214.
215 because you can play Batroc a turn before him.
I could even,
So is he-
argue that
so
he
is
goes
Sam-
to a 2.
so
Like, he'd
Sam
be
with conditional
SSS. I don't
215.
know. Yeah, I'm not arguing that. You could even argue him go to a 220 with Craven. Or
I don't
Shop
think
for
you
going
can
even higher.
argue. I don't think you can argue Sam for that. I would put Marrow in A. I think
I know
it's
you
a
were trying
strong
to
card.
disagree.
I think it's
Yeah.
a strong card. I just think it's a step below those cards in Esther. Like Sam Wilson, IP Grandmaster, those cards can be snap conditions of themselves. In the sense, like these cards are what's winning you games. Marrow is not winning you games. She is a support card to win you games. Winning games at a 2 cost is ridiculous, to be honest. Marrow is a strong 2 cost, but I don't think she's like a game winner by herself.
It can win games, but
I
the
think Marrow can win
likelihood
games.
of winning those games is not even as close to as high as the ones in S tier. Like I think that's fair. Like Marrow, out of 10 games, Marrow could win you 1 or 2. Iron Patriot or Grandmaster will win you closer to 5 to 6 out of those games. Like you're not 100% winning a game with Iron Patriot Grandmaster, but like you would definitely have a much higher percentage, which is why I will also say Marrow is more so on that A tier. I don't think Marrow is S tier.
Sure, that's fair.
Master Mold?
Yeah, that's fair. Master Mold.
See.
Is it? Sure, it's C or D. I don't hate it either way.
If you prefer Ronin to Rocks, it goes in Supergiant. If you prefer Rocks to Ronin, it doesn't. It's fine.
Maximus.
It's the same thing. It's right next to Master Mold, right?
It's the literal same thing.
Wherever Master Mold is, especially considering they have names next to each other, they literally are just next to each other, and that's it. We have another F.
Can't quite see it. Oh, Medusa. Yeah, Medusa's F tier. Medusa's really bad.
But I'm pretty sure this should be S though. It does a +3. I heard +3s are broken on cards.
I also heard +3s are broken, so we're gonna play Wong Medusa and get that all the way up into the S tier. You know, Ascani's actually worse than Medusa because Ascani only says +2. It also says -1, so my math brain says that's only +1, and that sucks because that's Punisher.
And I play Odin in that lane, and then all of a sudden, that's a 214. I don't know. I didn't count that, but that's a 214-ish. I put it up at SS.
We're playing Tribunal. Let's go. Medusa Tribunal. Here we go.
Goodness
Magic on 3, Wong on 4, Medusa Chameleon, Odin Tribunal.
I'd love for people to make a deck similar to, what was it? That Havoc Hela deck with that same logic. I think Smlz is like full stuff about what I'm talking about there. But anyway, I'm going to say Merlin's S as well.
I think he's A. What do you see Merlin in nowadays?
Nowadays is actually a fair point, straight up.
You see him. He's good.
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's denying that.
It's the Kate Bishop argument too.
But
So,
he's not.
Yeah,
he's
that's
not
actually,
what he
that's
was.
fantastic.
He's better Kate Bishop.
Yeah. Mirage.
A.
Yeah. I'm lower on her, but I think I'm wrong.
Mr. Sinister.
C or D.
I think it's D, actually. I think it's the same.
I'm fine with
I'd
D.
say it's Lasher.
Yeah, I'm
Moon
fine with
Dragon.
B.
Yep.
It's fine.
Morbius.
C. This card's awful.
Multiple.
I would have actually gone all the way to S, by the way, but that's fine. Multiple.
A.
All right, I think Morbius goes up a tier, and I'm fine with multiple man in A.
Okay,
Morbius should definitely be B.
we can put Morbius in B. Yeah, multiple man.
Yeah.
He's legit now.
Yeah.
His deck is good since they fixed that Penny Parker bug.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly.
Mysterio.
B. Solid stat stick and mind games are very useful in Snap for cube equity. I think it's a solid card. B tier.
And that Aurora deck with like Mysterio's not, of course, like the main engine necessarily in the Aurora deck, but like Aurora helps with that. Frankie Ray.
As much as I was coping with Lasher earlier, you could have said F. I would have agreed with you with Frankie Ray. I don't think the card's good.
Uh,
The fact it
yeah,
doesn't work with Zola is forever a sour spot for me in comparison to Nico.
I think actually no. Let's put it in F. Sasquatch is seeing play in this card isn't. Yeah.
That's true. Okoye.
F.
Yep. Penny goes next to wherever Hulkbuster is, I think.
No,
what?
no. Penny's an A tier card. Yeah, Penny's good. Yeah, Penny's good.
I'm so wrong.
Yeah, they fixed the bug,
no,
and now
I'm wrong.
Multiple Man is like legitimately crazy.
I'm opening. Y'all, we've been going for so long. I need to drink my Red Bull. I'm wrong. Just go.
Oh my gosh, I was about to be like,
no.
What?
You know what? Never mind. I am fully on this point, and I'm definitely not just saying this to rage bait comments. Speaking of, by the way, if people are commenting, they should actually be subscribed over to Tucker's YouTube channel if they're already there. Right? Like, I think that makes a lot of sense. If you're gonna comment, you're gonna rage stuff. You might as well just scroll down, hit that subscribe button, make sure you hit the like. Go. And speaking of, by the way, when you're in the description, you can go follow Snap. Like we already mentioned, Snap Academy YT, which is going to be down in the YouTube description. Also, Tucker's going to be his Twitter, his Twitch, his TikTok. All those links are going to be down there. I would normally do a longer bit to promote him, but we've been going a while. He's awesome. Follow him. Smlz is awesome. Follow him.
Oh man.
Follow Dance as well. He's pretty cool.
Yeah.
He has a really good mustache as well.
He does. He has
I heard that.
a great mustache. Definitely follow Dance. All of the channels, whether it's Smlz and Dance's channel, will also be down in the description. If you guys want some grade A, not just grade A, some S tier content, make sure you guys do actually check them out as well. Dance will probably be streaming a couple times this week as well. His Twitch will be down in the description below.
Smlz is out of his finals. I'm not. I don't know how much I'm streaming. I'm doing until
he'll stream it. He'll stream at least one time. And then Smlz is pumping out content.
I could probably say that.
Almost like every day. He's done with finals, so Smlz is gonna be pumping out content out the wazoo. So be on the lookout for a lot of his content on Snap Academy and for all the featured podcasts he's on this week as well. Definitely check all of those out. As we move on to our next card, being Pixie.
B. It has it has its deck. It's a solid card.
Yeah,
Yes.
I'd agree with that. It's fine. I don't have any. It's just chill. No issues.
Polaris, Horseman of.
I'm going to defer to you two because this was part of the conversation that we had in terms of Horsemen.
Tucker, you get a pick.
I
between two right now.
I want to say more sort of like C or D. I mean, like what it can do, like if you get the affliction down and stuff, like it's cool. And like I've seen like KM Worst has been running this in like a Dormammu deck, which is cool. But I think it's more so in like some like high Evo things. But I feel probably more so like a C for this, maybe.
I agree with the C. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. It's just like, yes, people are running Stardust and stuff, but like they're not running Luke Cage. Like we're just not seeing Luke Cage. So like you're able to get this off when it works. And when it works, you've set up your hand in such a way to think Dragon Lord, like you kind of Dragon Lord, of course, is like it's random, of course, but like you can play out turns and have less cards in your hand for better Polaris things than you can with Dragon Lord. Probably would still rank Dragon Lord higher. But what about Psylocke?
I feel like it's still B.
I feel like it's C. It was B tier when Star-Lord was in the meta, but because Star-Lord's passed by, like you can run this index. It fulfills a specific purpose. It's better than the cards in D tier, but I would not call it a good card. I would call it a mid card.
That's fine. Punisher War Machine, I'm gonna be honest, I think it could very easily, I kid you not, I think it could very easily land to any one of these tiers once it launches. And that's the big thing I was excited to talk about with this whole thing. We've already been going for a while, so I won't spend too long. But legitimately, if in a week you told me it landed in any one of these tiers, I'd be like, yeah, okay, I can understand why. Straight up. And that's why I think this is the 2-cost tier list is so interesting to me, because Punisher in particular, I think is really going to be potentially anywhere. With that said, I kind of like going safe and saying like a B tier, because I feel like it could, like that's, I think it's better. I think it would be better, but I also am not certain. What do y'all feel? Because again, this is the one that I am least on.
B is the safe tier. Like we kind of can't be. I don't think we're gonna be wrong if it's B. But if we want to shoot for being more accurate, I think we either gotta pick A or C. I am personally higher on this card. I would lean A, though I can see it landing a C.
I think it is more towards A. I think it's not necessarily the same argument, but I want to think about the way we thought about Galactus First Steps. And when we were speculative of when Galactus First Steps came out, because it was kind of, it wavered kind of the same way. The difference, of course, is once this hits, you have extra max energy and your opponent doesn't have extra max energy. Of course, the location, turns off, you can kind of do whatever. So I think I'm here to risk it for the biscuit and put it in A tier as well, because I just think what this can do is going to outweigh those games when you can't hit it. Like I think that and like the way we are at the meta, like the way tempo is important right now and everything, like that also is like, you're of course trying to play in this every single time, right? But I feel like this also can be some mind game things you can potentially do with Punisher as well. But what about Quake?
I love this card, and I think I think out of all the cards that we talked about that would win a game, I think Quake is the best game winner we've seen so far. And I love this card, and I'm super high on it. I understand it's like, I probably am going to be wrong, but I just want to say, like, in my own heart, Quake's an S. But I understand that she's not going to probably make it here in that list, but I love this card.
I liked what Tucker talked about when he said like a Iron Patriot, like Grandmaster could win like 5 games of Marvel Snap. I think Quake is closer to winning like 1 out of 10 games of Marvel Snap. I would rate Quake to a B tier, to be honest.
Yeah, I think Quake's beer, and like with that argument, like Pixie kind of has that kind of like floor ceiling too. Where I would want to put Pixie A, but logistically Pixie just makes more sense at that B tier as we look at the other B tier cards. Like the ceiling for Pixie is S tier and it's amazing, but the floor
also
for Pixie is bad. Yeah.
I think Morbius and Pixie are actually the best examples because those two win games, but it's again super high ceiling and super low floor. Yeah. That's like the perfect way to describe it. And I was upset. You said that. I'm no longer upset. That's perfect. Makes sense. I'm here for it.
Ravonna. Say S.
She's good. Still. I'm gonna give you the take. I feel like she's lower now in the current, like where we are in the meta.
Argue A, I'm not mad, but I think Ravonna is just a very good card. If we're going heavily based on the current meta, which I guess we are because Lizard's an A tier card, she's an A tier card.
I think it's A. I would say A. Which again, I'm not even. Again, that's nothing against her. It's A. That's just because negative isn't a great deck.
I can't want to move Lizard down to B.
I think Lizard at B is fair. I think the argument for Ravonna at S is also fair. But I think even though, Star-Lord doesn't necessarily have the same correlation, but like negative Star-Lord and snapping into negative is great. But like oddly enough, there is a good bit of Mobius at the moment, which kind of, nukes that, unfortunately. But I mean, you could still get some tempo out in order to do Ravonna things. Of course, potentially, but I think where negatives at in general, you think of Ravonna with negative. Of course, there is the ongoing decks, like where you have, the whatchamacallit, like you have Goliath and you have some of these other ongoing cards that can benefit with Ravonna and Moonstone on a Ravonna in order to do like some pretty cool combo pieces. But I think in general, where we're at in the meta, there's also so much Cosmic Ghost Rider on top of that, which kind of counteracts a lot of those Ravonna style decks potentially. So I'm here for Ravonna at A at the moment.
Yeah, I think it's chill. Who's the next one? We have so many now. We're having to do big scrolls.
Redshift.
B.
Y'all. Redshift better.
Yeah.
I don't feel like Redshift's better than. I'm going to argue some of the cards in C tier. I don't know if it is.
Redshift.
I think it's C.
Redshift goes in a solid deck. You can argue C. I am a bigger fan of Redshift than most people because I do play Hella from time to time. I've always thought that it's like pretty close to Blade, and I think Blade is an A tier card, so I've always been higher on Redshift personally, especially because if Agatha's meta, then this card is right there with it. But C tier is where I wouldn't get mad at C tier though.
As much as I love Redshift, Whether it is Black Knight Redshifts, also like the Agatha Redshift is like it's amazing because it targets Agatha and you've already drawn an extra card more than your opponent because you have Agatha. So like there's the benefit there. It's just like looking at C tier as well. Is Redshift better currently maybe than some of those cards? I don't know.
I also think it's worse than some of the cards here.
Yeah.
I think it's better and worse than some of the cards in the C tier. And if that's what like we can agree on, I think that's where it lands. If we can argue that there are cards in the tier that are better and worse than it, then that's where the card goes.
I mean, we can put it in C tier. I think it's probably the best in C, but yeah, I can see it being worse than all the B tier cards.
Yeah, I think it's better than most of the C tier cards. But like, I wouldn't put Redshift above like Pixie.
Yeah,
I might put it above Quake because Quake is kind of on that fringe, kind of. That's like C and B is just so close, especially with these like.
There's a lot of this. There's a lot of stuff I think.
Yeah.
That can go to both.
What about
so we have
Rhino?
2 rock cards, Rhino and Sandstorm. I kind of want to talk about both because one is in every single rock deck and the other isn't. And I feel like. In comparison, like I think Rhino's awesome. I think Rhino's a really great card. This, I don't know if it's A. It could be A. It could just be a B. But I also think that Sandstorm is. I think Sandstorm's 1 tier below Rhino, and I don't. So that's kind of where I'm at. You could argue 2. If you say 2, I'd be agreed. But it's like they're no longer F.
Sandstorm's off. Rhino is B, maybe A. Sandstorm is an awful card. You're just.
I think
it's not doing anything. Like even in a rock deck, the reason you're playing a rock deck is not to get all your rocks to 1 billion power. It's to have one of the best tempo packages in the entire game. You're playing a 2/5, you're playing a 3/8. You turn those downsides into upsides while playing a 5/9. That's why you're playing the rock deck. That's why the rocks are good. The rocks aren't good because you're getting 2 1/6s when your board is already kind of clogged. And your opponent can much easily read like the max output of them. Everybody thought this card was going to be good on release, myself included. We have been proven so wrong. This card is clunky. It's almost never a 1/6. It's almost always like a 1/4 when you play it. And if I'm getting 2 1/4s, then I'd rather just play Hood Misery. Like Hood Misery is better, and it also has better like alternate synergies as well. Like I could get double Mirage cards and stuff like that.
I was gonna say it's actually like it's not a 1/4 typically. It's like a 2/8. But I also realized it's also not just a 2/8. Even if you try, like Black Swan excluded, it's actually a 4/8. So I actually think that's actually a really solid way to say, we can put it in F. And I think that's a fair way to describe it.
And a lot of those better rock decks right now, doing that, Rhino into Debris, you're more so on turn 4 playing like that Super Giant. You're wanting to, do tech instead of doing something just fully into rocks. So, like, it kind of feels like maybe a 14th, 15th card in some of those times. Mm-hmm. So, I think that's fair. Scarlet Witch.
Right next to Quake.
Next to Quake? I do think it's better because it's being played in more decks. Location control is very important.
But you want to put Scarlet Witch in A tier?
Oh, I think Scarlet Witch is A, 100%. Location control is a big deal in Marvel Snap.
Right? I know a top player that would love that take.
Yeah, Gamer would be really happy with that.
Gamer would be so happy with you. But
I don't know how many times I've spoken to Gamer, but yeah, I think locations are the part of Marvel Snap that make people feel the most angry, change the most games, right? And so any form of location control matters so much. And there's a reason that the best decks, when Super Giant was the best deck, it ran Scarlet Witch, not just because Magic was the thing, which again, turning off an entire deck with Scarlet Witch is fantastic. Multiple decks get ruined by that. Scarlet Witch also lets you mess with those locations that are potentially beneficial for your opponent or just detrimental or whatever they might. Like, there's so many little things with her. And I'm saying just in general, beneficial, detrimental. Obviously, it's how she works. But, like, she just does a lot. And she shows how valuable locations are.
I'm going to pitch you why this is B tier. So, you say that Scarlet Witch's role is not just Magic decks, that it can also mess with other locations. There's 2 kinds of metas in Marvel Snap when it comes to Magic. There are metas where you can play Magic, and there are metas where you can't play Magic. If there is a meta where Magic is a good card and people are legitimately playing it, Scarlet Witch is better than Quake. Otherwise, Quake is better than Scarlet Witch, because oftentimes the location giving your opponent the advantage could also be giving you the advantage. And that's why in non-Magic metas, you run Quake over Scarlet Witch. In Magic metas, you run Scarlet Witch over Quake. They're two sides of the same coin when it comes to location control, and the only one card that like really flips them is the presence of the location Limbo. I think they're both high B, but if you want to argue both of them in A, I also don't hate it.
I would like to. I'd argue that.
We can put both of them in A. I'm fine with both of them in A. I think location control is very important.
All right, I'm overruled by 2. I don't even need to say anything. I don't have them at the same class as Merlin, and like the argument I would have made would have been Nocturne, which of course is not the same because it's a move to change location and it's a 3 cost. But
Nocturne should have an on-reveal ability. Is where I'm currently at with her.
Nocturne should be reworked into a card I actually like because I hate Nocturne.
Well, I just want her. I don't think she should get points power. This is so unrelated. I want Nocturne to just get an on-reveal, and then also still have like when you move this, re-trigger your on-reveal, or just change location again. That's just random stuff like that. Anyway, we shouldn't spend too much time.
But like of those 3, I think like Merlin is a tier above both Quake and Scarlet Witch.
I don't think it's a tier above. I think it's a good card.
I think it's better, but I don't think it's a whole tier better. The main thing is that like Merlin's nerfs like matter a lot. Like he got like
100%.
3 to 4 points taken off of him, but he also doesn't have the scam potential. You know that an Omniversal may be coming when Merlin's on the board. Scarlet Witch and Quake have massive cube equity. Merlin doesn't. I think Merlin's better, but I think they're all the same tier now.
That's fair.
Yeah. I think I 100% I'd agree with that. Because of the nerfs, they're all in the same tier, even if again maybe he is like a cut above technically, but not a tier. Like I don't know, it's like he's standing taller over them, but they are also have the same footing.
I think also like 1 cost turning location is better, and the energy value you can get from Merlin and Polymorph makes him much better than both of them, but we don't have time for this right now. Scorpion.
I don't want to spend much time on the Scorpion. I think it's a D or a C tier card.
I think C because it's next to Polaris. I think Polaris and him have very similar arguments.
I think Scorpion's a bit worse than that because it's not like actually pulling a card.
That's fine.
Yeah. D tier, sure.
Scream.
D tier. D tier. Card's really bad. 2/1 bad makes you run below rate cards to get upside bad.
Sentinel.
Good in C3.
Honestly, I don't even like it in C3. I think it's his F.
No, it goes in C3. It's a C tier card. That's how you get the bodies from it. I think that's literally all it does, though.
Shadowlands Daredevil.
S for Season Pass, S for Shadowlands.
A for New Age Agamotto.
A for better than Agamotto.
It's better because it's newer.
Shocker.
F.
Even High Evo. Does High Evo Shocker change it at all?
No.
Silk.
No? Okay, just no.
Yeah, it does not.
No, it's fair.
I think Silk is probably B. It's good in Stomper. Yeah. Stomper dies the Gambit.
If Craven's in B, I think it's there as well, yeah.
Sparky.
D tier.
C. Oh, D, it's fair. I like it.
Card's not very good.
It's good at Multiple Man, but like it's the same argument like with Strange.
Yeah.
Spider-Man.
C, but people should play it more. It's a good card.
I like that logic. I think it's fine, but it's also C.
Starhawk.
D tier.
Smlz, I've been playing a lot of this card. Okay, I'll leave D.
Star-Lord. Base.
F.
F.
Done.
Strange Supreme.
This card's awful. I hate it.
I love coping with this card, and then I always cope with it, and then I get reminded why it's called cope, and it goes back down to F for me.
Surge.
Yeah. A. It's fine. Good.
Swarm.
Yeah. F.
Thaddeus
D. No,
Ross.
it's D. No, there's no shot. I'm sorry. Swarm's D or D because it is plate. Is it? Wait, hold on. Maybe it's not plate.
I love that you just realized. Just bullseye discard.
Okay. Anyway, Thaddeus Ross also F.
F.
Collector.
It goes in one deck.
First Ghost Rider.
First, it starts with F.
F.
Thena.
Sorry,
love the card, it's F.
Thena
C.
Thena B.
C.
Oh, B. Wait, give us. I know we're trying to like wrap it up, but hit B.
I mean, like, I know like Invisible Woman first steps got hit. I mean, I guess, but like scaling wise, I think this still gets to like a 2.9, potentially 2.12.
Sure.
Yeah.
Sure.
Topaz is F.
F.
So is Toxie. I love her. She's F.
Toxin.
There's
A.
no reason that she has been so bad for so long. Toxin's an A.
He's a bounce card.
Great card.
U.S. Agent.
F. Give him -4 back, please.
F.
Second dinner.
Yeah.
Yeah, all
Sucks. I hate him. I have a great spot.
Valentina.
He's terrible. A.
Valentina's. You would say A. I actually could have. You could have argued S.
I
Both
think you
Valentina.
can argue S, though. I think you can argue S. It's very good.
I think it's more so towards S. Like Iron Patriot high rolls are more that 5 cost or higher, which also Iron Patriot being able to hit 7 cost cards, 8 cost
Iron
cards
Patriot does
is
4
lower.
as well. Sorry, 4. Higher.
But it is 4 or higher. But I think Valentina, the 6 drops, like more often than not, you're getting playable 6 drops.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Victoria Hand's A though. I do not believe she's S.
I agree with Victoria Hand is A. If people are saying the new Victoria Hand deck makes her S tier, I want you to play Mr. Negative and see how similar those two decks are, because they're literally the same thing.
I'd agree with that statement. That's good. Yeah, I like that logic. F tier for Wade Wilson.
F.
Can we get all the F tiers out of the way? There's a lot of them. Normal Wolverine.
Normal Wolverine too. Can he go D? He can go D. He's playable. No. He is playable in some destroy packages. He is playable inside of that one collector deck. I think it's the same lot. I think D.
I think Zorn is more playable than Wolverine right now.
There's your hot take of the.
Look, it's Captain. It's really good. What takes the Maverick out of that lane? It's Zorn.
Tucker, if you leave Wolverine, I'll leave it there. But if you I'll let you give the decider point between D and F for Wolverine.
I just.
All right, leave it.
Yeah.
I think because literally, well, the Wolverine argument is like you're using it potentially in that Supergiant MODOK deck, but like in any other layer of destroy, you're just playing an extra 1-drop instead of Wolverine. Like that's pretty much what you're doing.
I think you're doing use case. You can put it in D.
I think it has use cases. You're also going to be able to use it with Muse. It's a card you're trying to probably use with.
Okay.
You make me want to put it back in the F tier.
Okay, sorry, my bad. I'll leave it alone. Wild Child is A.
Yes, Wild Child's an A tier card.
Yes, 2.9.
Honestly, I think close to S, but
yeah,
not enough to argue.
Fanta Zombie.
Yeah, I think it's close, but it's not like it is an S, but it's a high A.
D. Zombie Mr. Fantastic's the most overrated card in this game. This guy's trash.
I'd agree.
Zombie Power Man.
F.
We did it.
Pour one out for Zombie Power Man. I personally like it, but like you could just do some better targeted discards.
If we go look at the S, I know we're gonna wrap up here, but if you look at the S tier, I like that order. That's the correct order for the S tier, I think.
I agree. Yeah. Maybe Grandmaster over IP, but yeah.
That's the only change I could see. But it's like, I don't think any other changes need to happen to that tier. That is, I am happy with, there are some places where I feel like, and we some of us might disagree on, but I think in general, this is a good retrospective look of every single 2-cost card in Marvel Snap.
I agree. I think it's a pretty good list. I think we had a good share of debates on cards, why some of them are good, why some of them are bad, and I'm happy we could come to the conclusion that Domino sucks.
If y'all made it to the very end of this episode, do me a favor and use the word debate in your comment down below to let us know that you made it down all the way to the very end. And Smlz, seriously, I'm just trying to wrap us up here. Thank you so much for jumping on today. If y'all have not already, subscribe. His links and everything are down below in the description.
Yeah. Thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you, Smlz, for being here. It's been real. God bless, and laters.
Okay. Bye.